And welcome back here. About to get underway for our first feature event of the afternoon. This is 206 Sportsman. About to get set, ready to go here this afternoon. Here front row goes as follow. Brady Shad is going to start on pole position next to Slayton Baldock. AJ Stoner starts in P number 3 on the inside of row number 2 next to Brayton DeMott. Christopher Yahtzee starts in P number 5, start next to Tucker Tribe in the 6th position. Row 7 goes to Landon Brewer, start next to Caleb Johnson. Greg Heeman starts in P number 9 next to Casey Henderson in the 10th spot. Ethan Leroy starts in P11 next to Isaiah Maxey in 12th. Ezekiel Haight starts in the 13th position next to Thomas Anthony. And the last position on the field in 15th goes to Jacob Shalub starting in the 15th spot. Emery Lida, this is going to be a 12-lap feature event. You're going to take the start here this afternoon. What do you expect to see?
I mean, I think this is going to be a really exciting race. We saw in the pre-final, Brady Shad was able to make the move, get himself up into the race lead. A good win for him starting on the pole. No, not going to get the start this time around. A little bit of issues coming through in the back, but certainly Shad had a really nice run, 3.8 seconds over AJ Stoner. Slayton Baldock moved up to the front rows. It looks like Stoner got a penalty post-race that will keep him out from the front row, but certainly we saw in 206 Sportsman, that was the second to last class before the crossover, before we started seeing dry tires. So this is going to be the first time we're going to see them in full dry conditions, and to be honest with you, it's going to be interesting to see how much of this is traditional 206 racing and pure pack racing, and how much of it is a larger field spread, because we really haven't seen that much dry racing for them this weekend. And so as we get set for the start, getting started for him, I would expect that this is going to be a race that's going to be kind of a couple of laps of just feeling things out, trying to get a good rhythm in the dry. This gives an advantage to the kids that have already driven in the micro or the mini categories. But I'm excited to see how this plays out, Caleb.
Yeah, definitely going to be one good show for sure. And as you said before, you can hit the nail right on the head. This is one of the bigger packs we have here, and it is 206. So pack racing is going to be the name of the game this afternoon. But something else we've seen in this 206 class as well is if 4 or 5 can pack up and separate themselves a rest from all the chaos, it could be an intense 5-car battle for the lead, or who knows, we might see a 10. I think how it's going to go is it's going to be about 10 to 15 in contingency, and that's slowly going to whittle down until you get to the final 3 or 4. But who knows when it comes to 206 racing. But Emery Lido, why don't you take the start?
Yeah, we got Brady Shad here on the front row. As I mentioned, you're starting alongside him is Slayton Baldock, AJ Stoner, Brendan Dormont, row 2. Christopher Yahtzee, Tucker Traven, row 3. Landon Brewer, Caleb Johnson, row 4. Getting set to go. Looks clean. Looks good. It is good. It's green. Brady Shad looks to get the lead into turn 1. Looks so like Slayton Baldock is going to be able to hold the outside a little bit, but no, he doesn't. AJ Stoner's got himself up into second, the place he was supposed to start after the pre-final. He's up to P2. Looking down the rest of the lid, it looks like Braden Dormont's got a good start from P4, and it looks as though the outside pole sitter, Slayton Baldock, is going to fall all the way down into the 4th position. Going to have to work his way up through the field, as that looks to be, I believe, Braden Dormont into P3 at the moment. And so the front 2 now of Shad and AJ Stoner breaking away from the rest of the field. They've got a couple car links to spare. Shad goes a little bit wide, but is able to collect that momentum, kind of shaking the wheel, get a little bit of temperature into the tires, and it's working for him. Stoner's right on his rear end. He's got all the gap in the world, about 3 or 4 car links back to the rest of the pack, down to about 6th place. That looks to be a guy like Christopher Yahtzee at the back of that pack in the orange helmet. So certainly a good start for your front 2, as it looks to be Brady Shad and AJ Stoner having themselves a comfortable race. We'll have to see if they're willing to work together. Stoner stays behind him in the back section. Looks like Shad takes a good wide here that gives him a little bit of separation from Stoner, but as they come to the end of lap 1, it is a 2-car breakaway. Shad has been able to find himself up, and then in the background, you see a lot of battling. It looks like Christopher Yahtzee going around the outside of one of the Merlin carts. I believe that might be the 22 car of Tucker Traven, P60 was able to go around the outside of, as we get set for a good final with the front 2 breaking away.
Yeah, so we're now going to watch AJ Stoner on the back bumper. Brady Shad. Stoner looking for his first win in the Route 66 season this year. He had a couple of opportunities last time when we were running up in Badger in Wisconsin. Wasn't able to get it done. He was up in the main pack, but not quite close enough. Now he is well within striking distance as he is pushing on the back bumper. The leader, Brady Shad, as you talked about, the rest of the field is getting a little hectic from Slayton Baldock on back with Brayton DeMott, Christopher Yahtzee, Tucker Tribe. All drivers who are battling it out for that second spot as they make their way down into turn number 10, coming up the hill now, heading towards turn number 12. AJ Stoner continues to follow close on the back bumper. Brady Shad through 12 and 13. This is one of the better passing opportunities. It looks like Christopher Yahtzee was holding off, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that was Tucker Tribe, for the 5th and 6th position as they make their way through. There's the 2 leaders at the top of your screen. The right-hand side coming down to burn one more lap. We're about to be 10 to go this time by Brady Schott has got a rearview mirror full of A.J. Stoner. Stoner pushing that back bumper hard down into turn 1. Did not try to make a pass, so I think he had an opportunity to coming up into turn number 2. He is going to continue on the follow on the back bumper, Brady Schott.
A.J. Stoner has had a lot of pace at times this year as he looks to the outside shot briefly. Schott senses him coming, crosses over. It looks like he's a little bit defensive now. Stoner back in line again in P2. Stoner has been very fast at points this season. We've seen in Stars him set it on pole and struggle in the races. We saw up in Dowsman. He had a lot of pace, but could not convert it to final wins or anything like that. So this is A.J. Stoner's chance. He's a little bit younger than Brady Schott. He is still in the micro category on the Swift side of things, but this is a chance. Racing for AMAX Racing. A lot of raw pace with A.J. Stoner. Only a really young kid, and so he's making a little bit more mistakes, but if he's just patient and runs with Brady Schott, nobody else in the field has the pace to be able to keep up with those two. They are running upwards of 7/10 clear on the rest of the field, and as long as Stoner is able to stay consistent and able to stay in it, he's going to have a shot down the stretch of this race. Brady Schott is having a nice race as well, just controlling the face up at the front, as we see a little bit of battling through the back hairpin, panning back up to the race lead, but it looks to be Schott and Stoner. And then now Slayton Baldock having a little bit of a gap now to Christopher Yotzi. Those have been the two other fast carts this weekend, but just have not found pace. Although, as I say that, Yotzi goes purple from P4 and goes right back up to Slayton Baldock.
Yeah, Christopher Yotzi went a little wide there, trying to see if he couldn't make a move on Slayton Baldock. He went extremely wide of the entry of 2. Now he's going to lose sight of Yotzi, so he may actually lose one more position and fall down into P5 as that battle continues on back there between Braden DeMott, Tucker Tribe, Landon Brewer, and Caleb Johnson. Also up in the mix, and right behind Johnson, I think, is Jacob Schlabe, who has moved his way up from 15th all the way up into 8th now. So we continue to watch that battle heat up for P5 on back. That is Braden DeMott leading that pack, followed by Tribe as they make their way through. So it's a 3-pack followed by another 3-pack. There's your 2 leaders. Stoner on the back bumper of Brady Schott. It's a matter of if and when he is going to make his move. He continues to follow. I think Stoner may be just a little bit quicker as there's a huge fan out there and the 5th on back. So that is 3 and 3. So that is DeMott, Tribe, Boer, and then that second pack of Johnson, Schlab, and Ezekiel Haight. They have all bunched back up. So that is now a 6-cart battle for the lead as they make their way down to turn number 2. Here's your 2 leaders. Shad out in front over Stoner. Stoner trying to size up to make his move to lead the first lap here.
Perkins, All-Star, Briggs, 206 Sportsman already off to a really nice start. We've seen Millwright Racing's Brady Schott able to get up to the race lead. He's controlled it all the way throughout the day, whether it be in the wet and the dry. But he's got A.J. Stoner working right on his tail. Stoner has been really fast all weekend. We've seen a lot of battling now in the battle for 5th on back. A lot, and I mean a lot of chaos. All the way from Tucker Trebe down to about Ezekiel Haight down in 10th is all right there up together, running together. They're battling a ton, upwards of 2 seconds off the pace from what the leaders are running in certain cases. So that's not helping them. We saw Christopher Yotzi in P4 last lap make a mistake through turn 2. So again, this has worked out really well for Brady Schott and A.J. Stoner. They're controlling the race up at the front. They've got about a 2.5 second gap back to Slayton Baldock, who has no help in P3. Then Yotzi's dropped off the tail of him. But if you look back to that group that we see now on your screen, from 5th on back as we now pan back, that group is absolutely crazy. But up at the front is just continuing to be A.J. Stoner pushing Brady Schott up through turn 1 and turn 2 as they click off another lap going purple.
Yeah, as we watch now, that's Yotzi, as you were talking about, with Slayton Baldock for the 3rd and 4th spot. It looks like Yotzi was able to get around. He is now finding himself up into P3. That's going to push Baldock back one more position. So now Yotzi pulling away by about 2, maybe 3 cart lengths over Baldock, who has now fallen back into the 4th spot as they make their way out of turn number 4, heading down into turns 6 right now. Again, your 2 leaders of both Schott and Stoner. Last time by, A.J. Stoner went purple 2 laps in a row. So he is now the fastest cart on track. And like I said before, I think he's waiting to make his move as we continue to watch Christopher Yotzi, who is now up into P3 over Slayton Baldock in the 4th position. So it is a battle for that last podium spot. Everyone wants to try to make their way up onto the top step as they make their way now out of 12, heading into 13, followed by 14 and 15 respectively. As your leaders now making their way onto the main stretch. Here it is, Brady Schott and A.J. Stoner. This time by, it's going to be halfway. Stoner going to make the move in here into 1. He does not. Continues to push on the back bumper. Brady Schott heading into turn number 2.
I have to say I'm extremely impressed with the patience A.J. Stoner has shown. The Columbus, Indiana native running on the Tony Kart for AMAX Racing has stayed right on the bumper of Brady Schott the entire race. Could have had many opportunities to pass him, but he stayed patient. He's lost a little bit of time at certain points He's always found his way right back up there, and he is now right on the tail, and he continues to push them away from Christopher Yurtzi in P3, who was able to get by Slayton Baldick last lap for P3 after Baldick made a mistake the lap before. And then it's just another big gap. P5 is now Landon Buer all by himself. About 3 seconds between him and Baldick in P4, 2 seconds between him and Braden Doma in P6. But man, that battle for 6 on back is crazy as we focus back in on the race lead. Still Brady Schad and AJ Stoner. You have to wonder at what point does Stoner make his move. I mean, at this point, he seems content to just settle in there and run in that P2 position all the way up until the last couple of laps. Continue to work with Schad. Schad has not made any mistakes this whole race. He's stayed clean, and I guess that has a little bit to do with how Stoner continues to be patient with him, because at the end of the day, as I say that, Stoner takes off the patience. He goes straight for the lead coming into turn 1, makes the move. Now back on the inside goes Brady Schad into turn 2. It's going to be a great fight coming through the second turn.
Yeah, they're still door-to-door as they make their way now into turn number 3. It looks like Schad is going to yield and fall in the back bumper. Stoner looks back to see Schad is down there right behind him. He is now in the tow. So let's see if Stoner was fast off of raw pace or if he was only fast because he had the tow. I think it was a mixture of both. But now Schad is going to enjoy some tow off the back of AJ Stoner. But he's got to keep up with them right now. He's starting to pull away by about a half a car length of AJ Stoner, that is, over Brady Schad. So if he's not able to stay with it, Stoner could easily pull away. Although with the size of these straightaways, I think Schad is going to have some insurance there as he continues to work the back bumper. Stoner now making their way into 12, followed by 13. As we lose them back in the back parts of the track, they're about to make their way onto the main straightaway here shortly. As they're snaking their way through, coming out of the main stretch, it is now Stoner in front of Schad coming onto the main straightaway this time. Does Schad now try to pass back as they make their way down to the stripe? He's got a little bit of a run. He's in the tow. He is staying on the back bumper, coming down into turn 1. Doesn't try to pass here. Does he try to size up for 2? He does not. He's not close enough as they go single file into turn number 2.
AJ Stoner, who last time we saw him up in Dowsman got DQ'd in the final for driving standards, has been absolutely composed so far in this final. He found his way up to the lead with 5 laps to go. Last lap was able to defend effectively from Brady Schad. In the meantime, in the background, Yurtzi and Baldick are continuing to set really fast lap times, but it does not matter as we now focus in on the battle for 6. It continues to rage on. Ezekiel Haight has found himself up at the front of that group. Braden Dormont has been right up there in the fighting as well in P7. Jacob Scheibel up to P8, as well as that Trucker Tree, Caleb Johnson, all of them in that battle from 6th to 10th. It is a massive pack, and that is where we've seen a lot of the action in this race. But up at the front, just continuing to run up front is AJ Stoner, but we'll have to see because at some point those guys are going to mix it back up. But at the moment, P6 in Ezekiel Haight has had a lot of action in the race, starting from 13th on the grid. He's had a good race, but now focusing back on the leaders. This is the important battle. This is what we're all here watching. And at the moment, AJ Stoner has enough of a gap, but Brady Schad has stayed right in his toe, continue to run fast, and AJ Stoner has the lead coming into turn 2.
Yeah, so Stoner's got it coming into turn 2. It's 3 laps to go. Going to be 2 to go next time by as they now head out of turn number 3, heading to 4. Stoner has a peek back to see that Schad is still on his back bumper. Into turn number 4. No pass was made by Schad. He actually loses just a little bit of ground, but he's going to close back up due to the draft coming up into 7 right now. Continues to follow in the wake of the leaders and make their way now through turn 7. Schad is going to have about 2 laps to go next time by to try to make his move. Stoner is going to have to hope that Schad gets a little antsy here, because if he continues to wait and he does it last second, it's not going to be a lot of time for Stoner to try to make his move back around as Schad goes straight to the back bumper. Stoner gives a little bit of push heading into 12 and 13 as they're now lost in the back parts of the track, and Stoner continues to be out front. Schad does not make a move, follows close on the back bumper. Coming down to line, there's going to be 2 sticks up in the air, 2 laps to go. Last time by, Slayton Baldick running in the 4th spot, was the fastest car on track. There's his pack right there as they make their way into the inner parts of the track. That is being caboosed by Caleb Johnson, so I think that was actually 5th on back. Here's that is Yurtzi, sorry. Christopher Yurtzi and Slayton Baldick are now going nose to tail heading into turn number 2, Emery.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if they're going to be able to catch them up at the front, but Christopher Yurtzi and Slayton Baldick have turned up the wick here over the last couple laps, going 0.4 of a second quicker than what AJ Stoner and Brady Schad have done. A fantastic set of laps for them. They got a little bit too far back early on. Yurtzi struggled on the opening start. Baldick made a couple of massive mistakes that dropped him behind Yurtzi, but ever since then, they have been running times 4 to 5 tenths quicker than what the 2 leaders of Stoner and Schad have done. Right now, it's almost 3 seconds, so at the moment, It looks like it might be a little bit too much to overcome. But as I say that, Shad makes a little bit of a peek to the inside coming out of turn 10. That's going to give a little bit of a slowdown point for both of them. As they come up, as we see a little bit of a mechanical failure back in the back of the field. But as they come up through turn 12, we're waiting to see the leaders at the moment, and it looks like still Stoner up at the front. Shad is content to wait as long as possible. This is his race to possibly win his first, looking for his first ever regional win at the Route 66 level. He's got one left to do it. He's defending. Well, I don't know if he needs to or not, but as he goes to the white flag, there's now a 4-car length lead, and he looks to have it under control coming onto the last lap.
Yeah, and a little talk about the a little bit farther back. It looks like Christopher Yotzi and Slayton Baldock lost a little bit of time there to the two leaders. And like you said, it looked like they were turning up to the max and had a possibility of running down the two out in front. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. A.J. Stoner now leads Brady Schott as they make their way out of turn 4, heading into 6 right now. Out of turn 7, and it looks like Shad's got a little bit of run on A.J. Stoner as they make their way through the chicane of the left, right, left as they make their way now into turn number 11. Shad is going to have an opportunity coming up into 12 here. He looks to the inside on the exit of 11. On the back bumper, Stoner. Does he make it heading into 12? He's going to think about it, decides to stay in the tow. He is going to follow through 12 and 13. Now coming out of turn 14, I don't think he's going to have enough. If it is, it's going to be a drag race down the line. He is in the tow on the exit, but he is not close enough. Stoner looks back to see where he's at. He's going to go the inside to defend. Shad is going to go the outside line, but it's not going to be enough. The first win for the Route 66 Series goes to A.J. Stoner, his first one that is. Brady Shad comes across the P2. And just now down to line, it looks like it's going to be Slayton Baldock, followed by Christopher Yutzi and Landon Brewer, finishing in 4th and 5th place. Ezekiel Hay comes across 6th, Brayton DeMont in 7th, Jacob Shable comes across in 8th, Tucker Tribe in 9th, and Caleb Johnson rounds out your top 10. That was your 206 Sportsman feature event. The headline event is still yet to come. Your KA100 Sr is still yet to come here live on Kart Chaser Premium. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere because we have more racing still yet to come.
USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com.
Back here for the Walter Racing Engines KA Senior category, one of the most exciting classes on the weekend. We've got Josh Host starting on pole position after a fantastic run from 9th on the grid in the pre-final to 1st at the end of the 8 laps. Actually, he's starting on the outside front row with Austin Years on the pole. But regardless, those two are going to make up your front row. Beyond that, you've got a number of stacked really fast cars. Alexander Kardashian in P3, Brandon Lemke P4, Oliver Cunningham in P5, Alex Feldstein P6. As now we've got a little bit of chaos in the back. That looks to be Alexander Kardashian, who has dropped it on the entrance of turn 10. He'll have to make his way back up through the order. That's going to be a little bit chaotic, but certainly this has been a really entertaining class to watch. And Caleb Smock, I'm going to let you take care of the start here.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if they're going to send it this time by, or if they're going to go one more time around, because there's still some stragglers. And there's the yellow. They are going to send it one more time around. Like you were saying, Alexander Kardashian, who is set to start in the third position, dropped a wheel. He is back to his normal starting position now, up into the third spot. But I think it goes to show what you were talking about, how the outside lines are still a little bit wet. There's a little bit of standing water on track. And, man, if you just dip one wheel into the grass that's wet right now, it turns into an ice skating rink. And that can really ruin your day if you just get a little bit too far off the line. Your starting order: Austin Jers starts next to Josh Holtz. Alexander Kardashian starts in row number 2 on the inside next to Brandon Lemke in P4. Row number 3 goes to Oliver Cunningham next to Alex Feldstein in P6. P7 is Bryce Merschberg starting at P number 7 next to Nicholas Terlecki in P8. Evan Hansen starts in P number 9 next to Emerson Reed. P11 is going to be Cameron Case next to Logan Mueller. P13 is going to be Riley Pegram starting next to Gio Carden. P15 is going to be Gabe Lee next to Kayla Anderson in the 16th position. Harbor Das starts in P17 next to Cheyenne Sagel in P18. Mason Sergener starts in the 19th position next to Adam Maxwell in 20th. Grayson Rosetzian starts in P21 next to Adam Crippen. P23 goes to Brandon Adkins, starting to Clay Robinson, and Jalen Kerr rounds out the field in the 25th position. We got the field set. 25 carts are on track, ready to go, and it is going to be a 12-lap shootout to see who's going to take it. Will it be Josh Holtz, who put on a good show here yesterday, or Austin Jers starting on the pole position? We'll find out here shortly. Green flag is out. Down into turn 1. They're going to go door to door. A little bit of contact from your leaders, and it is going to be Josh Holtz pulling away on the inside, heading down into turn number 1. They're still door to door. Everyone's getting themselves fanned out. Looks like Kayla Anderson went into the spin cycle into turn number 2. And now it's going to be Austin Jers taking the lead coming down into turn number 3. Rest of the field still bunching back up. Now up into the third spot is going to be Brandon Lemke. He is right behind Josh Holtz, who is up into second. Kardashian falling all the way back into 5th or 6th. I believe Oliver Cunningham may be up one more position as well to go into the 4th spot. So top 3 breakaway of Jers, Holtz, and Lemke as they make their way out of turn 11. Heading down into turn 12, there's a little bit of a break there between the top 3 and the rest of the field. And it looks like Kardashian still falling back through the pack, heading over into the new parts of the track. Through turns 12 and 13 for the leaders for the first time, as there's a good train there. 4 carts battling it out for the second spot. That is for the lead, as there's been more that have closed back up. Lap number 1 about to be in the books. It's going to be led by Austin Jers. Lap number 1 of 12 has been completed. Lemke going to try on the inside. Gets a little loose as they head into turn number 2.
What a start from Nick Terlecki as he follows through with Brandon Lemke into P3 from 8th on the grid. He's up to 3rd already. Jers, though, already in the lead. Lemke's going to make a look now coming into turn 2. Not quite close enough as Lemke's found his way up to P2 now. You see now a whole gaggle of cars all the way back to about 7th, and Bryce Merschberger there heading to the train. Jers has been defensive the whole first lap, and that allowed the rest of the group to close in there. And at the moment, Austin Jers has Brandon Lemke covered, but it is not pretty. You have basically a Franklin Motorsports group up here. You got Austin Jers in P1, Brandon Lemke, part of the Millride team in P2. He is right on the bumper of Jers coming up into the back section. He's going to try around the outside. He's going to get it coming through the kink. What a move from Brandon Lemke. Now Terlecki and Jers get together a little bit. Terlecki into P2. He's gone by, and he is now going to be right behind Brandon Lemke as Jers is into P3. Holtz is still in P4, and they come down the straightaway. A nice little gap for Brandon Lemke now after that. And it's Terlecki, then Jers, then Holtz, and then into P5. Looks to be the number 8 of Emerson Reed as they come back into 2 and start battling again.
Yeah, they're still going side by side. Terlecki's still fighting it out with Austin Jers. I think Holtz was also up in the mix along with Reed, as here's the top 2. That is Brandon Lemke and Nicholas Terlecki, the 2 teammates, as there's still a gaggle of carts fighting it out for that 3rd spot. It is a big mix-up all the way through. I think that's Emerson Reed now up into 3rd as they're still door-to-door. Jers trying to get back around. That looked to be, I think that was Feldstein, if I'm not mistaken, in the Merlin, as they're going door-to-door, back and forth all the way through. There's the top 2 making the way out of turn 11. That is both Lemke and Terlecki, 2 teammates, both on Merlins from the Wisconsin area, are leading the way over everyone else's and make the way to the back parts of the track. Let's see if they settle down just yet in the battle for 3rd. They have it. Jers goes on the defensive, and it's going to actually cost them 1 spot, almost 2. as they now make their way out of that back part, snaking the way back to the main stretch. Top two coming down to the line. Terlecki in P2. Lemke leading the way across the line down into turn number 1. Yet again, 9 laps to go this time by.
Talk about some stories in the top 3 here. You've got Nick Terlecki, who qualified 18th as Josh Holtz and Bryce Merceberger get into it. Coming through turn 2, Cameron Cass and Merceberger going at it, coming through out of that kink as well. Is Chaos back in the fight for 5th on back. Holtz looks to have lost a couple spots. Feldstein's up there as well. Merceberger's up in the Merlin. It's all going crazy from about 5th on back. You've got Morgan Mueller coming up with his group, and all the way back to about 15th, all within about 2 seconds. So craziness here. Merceberger kicking off. But in the meantime, up at the front, you are continuing to see it's been Brandon Lemke and Nick Terlecki, both of them working well through this field. As long as we go back to the backside of the track now, Terlecki trying to get on the back bumper of Lemke. We've seen those two work together in the past. For both of them, they started the season off in Orlando at the USBKS. Yes, we see a car way off the track, but they started USBKS 1 and 2 at the Orlando Karting Center, and since then it has not been the greatest of years for either of them. Terlecki in particular struggling on the OTK, but this has been a really good showing, and he's now in contention. They've pulled a big gap back to Emerson Reed in P3, who is also having a really nice run as well.
Yeah, it looks like we do have one stuck. I believe that is going into turn number 12. So that is off the outsides of the picture. There's the rest of the field, the top two of Lemke. Sorry, that was, Terlecki out right behind Lemke. So that are 1 and 2. Continue to go nose to tail. Emerson Reed in the 3rd spot appears to be going just a little bit slower, not by much. He is about 1/100th off of the time of the top two out in front, so he's going to hope that the teammates either battle back and forth, which I don't think is going to happen, or maybe one of them making a mistake to slow down their momentum, which I think is a stronger possibility. Austin Jurors got settled into that 4th spot finally, and right behind him is Bryce Merceberger, followed by Cameron Case, who is also up in the mix into that 6th position. They're still going back and forth in the mid-pack battle as they make their way through towards the start-finish straight, nose to tail of the top two coming down to the line. It is going to be 7 laps to go this time by, and there's a leader change. That is now Terlecki out in front over Lemke running in P2.
Nick Terlecki in the Holtz driver development OTK back up to the race lead. The first time he's led a race in a long while, and this is extremely good for him. Able to get out with Lemke. Now the two of them have built up over a 2-second lead to Emerson Reed, who just does not have the pace to quite pick up. Terlecki the last time around, the only car on the track in the 59-second bracket. Really fast start for him. Lemke is right on his tail, though, and then you get back to the massive train from 5th on back. Cameron Cass, Bryce Merceberger, Alex Feldstein, Logan Mueller, Josh Holtz, Oliver Cunningham, all the way back down to arguably to Cheyenne Sigel and Adam Maxwell, who started all the way back in the field in about 12th. So that group is absolutely massive. But up at the front, you can see Terlecki. He's not able to pull away from Lemke, but certainly the two of them have a pace that the rest of the field just cannot quite match at this point. And then you've got Emerson Reed and Austin Urs kind of running their own race. Urs is an interesting case. He started up at the front and just kind of unraveled a little bit. He got clear of that mid-pack, and now he's running clean laps, which is not enough to match what Terlecki is doing, who continues to set a blistering pace up at the front.
Yeah, as we continue to watch now, there's that rest of the midfield making their way through, heading down into turn number 2. Looks like they've kind of gotten themselves worked out single file, although that battle for 3rd is starting to heat up between Emerson Reed and Austin Jurs. Jurs slowly catching up to Reed. Those two might be able to work together to catch back up to the two teammates of Terlecki and Lemke as they make their way out of 7. There's a little bit of gap there, probably about 2 kart lengths. So all it needs is Jurs to get a little bit more to catch back up to Reed, use the toe to his advantage. They really can't battle back and forth. They're going to have to work together and put their differences aside if they have any to try to catch back up to top 2 if they want any chance for the win, because I don't think Terlecki and Lemke are going to battle back and forth like what they want. And now there is Jurs closing up onto the back bumper of Reed as they make their way towards the start-finish straight. There's the 2 leaders come by the top of your screen, and then there's the 2 in the battle for 3rd. That is Reed and Jurs. This is going to be telltale, and here comes Jurs on the inside. This is not what he needs right now. They need to be trying to go nose to tail as much as they can, but there's the signal. He taps the back of the helmet, says you're going to have to work with me. So Austin Jurs is going to try to lead with Cameron Reed, giving a little bit of a push coming into turn number 4.
Move the senior rookie up to the 3rd position. Austin Jurs having a lot of pace here. Just went purple. I said he wasn't quite able to match Terlecki. Now he is. And now it's just a race against time for him. He's only got about 5 laps to go to be able to catch up to Nick Terlecki and Brandon Lemke. Again, Jurs is someone that has a lot of pace in that kart. We've seen it all season, from USPKS to Route 66, from Florida all the way up to Wisconsin. Jurs has had the pace, but this is different. This is going to require him to chase down 2 karts that should be smart and should work together. And we'll have to see. Lemke obviously known for his ability to get to the front and lead races, but now it might be in his best interest to work with Terlecki here on the OTK for Terlecki, on the Merlin for Lemke, the MR29, continuing to set fast laps, maybe not as quick as yours, but it's going to take a miracle for him to be able to catch up to them. And then those two behind him, Emerson Reed trying to latch on, and then you've just got a massive pack. But Lemke and Terlecki continue to run personal bests, 59.9s, and put a little bit more on yours on that lap.
Yeah, so it's 4 laps to go. We're watching the top two, both Terlecki and Lemke, as they make their way into turn number 5. At the bottom of your screen, you can see Austin Jers, who is pulling away from Emerson Reed, who is in the 4th position. So the hope of those two working together, I think, is out the window, and now it's going to be all onto Austin Jers to see if he can run down the top two out in front. The two Merlin carts of Terlecki and Lemke as they make their way through that quick chicane, coming down into turn 11 this time as they make their way up the hill. Lemke all over the back bumper. Terlecki, the last time by, Lemke went about 5/100ths faster than Terlecki out in front as they make their way into turns numbers 12 and 13. That is Austin Jers in P3 that we just saw go by at the top of your screen, followed by Emerson Reed in 4th. There's 5th on back of Cameron Case, Bryce Merschberger, Alex Flintstone as the leaders now coming across the stripe right now. Coming down into turn 1, Terlecki and Lemke still 1 and 2. Jers is not too far back, and there's a battle for 4th. Emerson Reed, Cameron Case, Bryce Merschberger heading into turn number 2.
Yeah, Cameron Cass has had an outstanding run here to get all the way up into the 5th position in his host driver development Merlin MR30 there. A really good run from Cass to run from about 11th on the grid up to 5th. He's got Merschberger and Feldstein right in tow. Josh Host and Adam Maxwell, who's had a really nice run all the way up in 9th position. But at the front, Lemke continuing to be patient with Nick Terlecki. Austin Jers has dropped Emerson Reed again. Reed had a really nice start. Someone that's been out of the kart for a long time up until last year. One of the best drivers in the mid-2010s. He is back on the field and having a really good race. But that's not the story. It's Lemke now back to the race lead. He's gone by Terlecki on the backside of the track. Brandon Lemke move him out to the front as they come up to 2 to go. It is now all hands on deck for the two former teammates with Brandon Lemke for Millwright Racing, Nick Terlecki for host driver development. You see Austin Jers in the background, not too far away. The front 3 have checked out, and now it's going to be a 2-horse race at the moment with Lemke leading it.
Yeah, so Lemke and Jers have got to be careful. They've done a great job of building up a little bit of real estate for them to battle back and forth. But if they start battling too soon, like you said, Austin Jers is not down by too far. So if there's a couple of passes there for the lead, you could see Austin Jers joining the scene here quickly as he's trailing by about 1.6, 1.5 seconds on back as we watch Terlecki on the back bumper of Lemke, who is leading the way down into turn 11. Up the hill they go. Lemke out in front, Terlecki into second. Let's see if Terlecki tries to make a move on Lemke here for 12. He does not, continues to stay, although he's looking to the inside just a little bit as Lemke continues to lead the way over Terlecki. Coming up in the final couple of corners. But I think slowly but surely, Jers is starting to catch back up. The last time by, he was down by 1.7. Let's see what the gap is this time. Is there a pass for the lead? They go to the inside to defend. A little bit of an attempt for a pass there. Gap to Jers is 1.3. There's a possibility for it, Emery.
Yeah, getting back to the last lap now. Lemke is going to go defensive just about every opportunity. Terlecki's got to find a place where he can get more traction on exit. That's almost certainly going to bring Jers back into the fray of things. Lemke parks it on the apex coming through turn 4. Really nice defensive line there. Terlecki looks at the inside, not going to have it. Now he's going to send it late in the braking zone. Nick Terlecki to the race lead on the outside of turn 7. Gets the move done. Move Terlecki in the host driver development, number 982. Up to the front on the OTK. Lemke's going to try and move into 10. What a move from Brandon Lemke. He goes off the track, though. Overdrove it. Now it's Jers against Terlecki as Lemke, the championship leaders, off the track as they head down now to the backside of the track coming into turn 12. What is Jers against Terlecki? These two have history now. Now, Jers on the inside gets by into 12. Austin Jers was third at the start of the last lap. Now it's going to be a drag race down to the start-finish line. Terlecki trying to get the draft coming up towards the start-finish line. Jers started on pole, got mixed in the midfield. It's going to be a tight battle, but Nick Terlecki is able to get to the draft, and he wins the final. From 18th on the pre-final to first at the end of the 12-lap final. Nick Terlecki, your race winner on Saturday here at Route 66 in KA Sr.
How about that? At the line for Nicholas Terlecki, .043 seconds separated the two out in front. Emerson Reed comes across in third. Brandon Lemke sent it a little bit too hard there in turn 11, comes back and forth. Bryce Merschberger is going to finish in the 5th position. Adam Maxwell drove all the way up into P6. Josh Oates falls back to 7th. Cameron Case in 8th. Harbor Das finishing at P9, and Logan Mueller finishing in the 10th position. That was your KA100 Senior feature. Up next is going to be 206 Junior live on Car Chaser.
Kart Store USA is a kart parts supplier that racers and retailers can count on when they need reliable advice and service. We focus on servicing all racers with honesty and pride while maintaining customer satisfaction. We carry a full stock of Kart Republic and Tony Kart chassis, as well as IAMI and Vortex Rock engines. We've also got a host of other parts available and in stock, such as products from Rev Performance Materials, Jecco Racing Seats, and more. We have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. And on top of that, if your order exceeds $200, shipping is on us. Check out all we have to offer today by visiting us online at kartstore-usa.com. As the Western importer of the Praga and Formula K chassis brands, Leading Edge Motorsports is a high-performance kart shop and race team with a simple mission: teach others the joy of high-performance driving, supply our customers with the highest quality products and services, and most of all, win races. With our remarkable racing inventory, expert services, and top-ranked national-level team to back it up, we'll help to get your new kart racing package up and running fast. From arrive and drive service to kart preparation and driver coaching to the parts you need to get you back on the racetrack, Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer.
Hannah Greenemeyer is going to score the final win of the U.S. Pro Kart Series. Hayden Jones is a national race winner. Nate Cicero wins.
Four-time champion Ryan Norberg winning Super Nationals 24.
Winner, winner, winner.
Are you ready to join one of North America's winningest driver development programs? Rollison Performance Group offers fully customizable packages that are meant to take your game to the next level. For more information, head to rollisonperformancegroup.com.
And welcome back here. About to get underway with our 206 junior class, about to take their 12-lap feature event. It is going to be Ava Hannison starting a pole position next to Jackson Woolney in P2. Jace Petty starts in the third position next to Logan Wackerlin in P4 as the green flag is out. And they're going to go 3 wide down into turn number 1. Side-by-side action. Never hurt anyone off the start. As they go down into turn number 2, it is going to be Ava Hansen out in front. Embry as they make their way into turn number 3.
Ava Hansen, the championship points leader, off to a nice start. That was a little bit chaotic for Evo 206 Junior standards. Only 7 karts in this field, but 7 good karts at that. Hansen controls the lead early on. Jace Petty's into P2. Jackson Woolney has dropped to P3 off of the line, but still something he can work with. We saw those front 3 work together pretty well in the last race. Ended up fighting for the victory, although Woolney and Petty had a good battle for second. It cost them a chance at beating Hansen. But the real story in this race is Malachi Haight starting all the way back from 7th on the grid. He's going to work his way up through the field. It looks like he's up to 6th at the moment, but already you can see those front 3 have built a nice gap for themselves. And if they continue to work together, we could see them break away, but we'll have to see as they come into the back section of the track, coming through turn 12. Jace Petty does not make a look as we say, hey, making a move for P5 at the moment. He gets by. I believe that might be Jocelyn Schlinker into P5, as now we see Ava Hansen continuing to lead the race ahead of Jace Petty. Will Petty make a move at the end of lap 1? We'll have to wait. He stays in the draft for now. Stays in the draft, and it looks like coming through turn 1 into turn 2, he's going to stay content with just being in second.
Yeah, so they continue to go 1, 2, 3. Hansen, Petty, Woolney. We've seen this before in the pre-final. Now we're going to see it in the feature. They're about to go back and forth as Hansen leads them heading into turn number 4. Right behind her on the back bumper is Petty, but Petty has got his hands full right now as he's trying to hold off Jackson Woolney, who is making his way, trying to see if he can't get a little bit of push to the top 3. Running in the 4th position of Cody Landstrom is in an island of his own right now. He doesn't have any help from Malachi Haight, and he is not really in the toe position right now of Jackson Woolney as they make their way into that quick little chicane before heading towards turn 11. Up the hill they go. Top three continue to run nose to tail. All over the back bumper of Hansen is Petty, giving a little bit of a push there heading in to turns 12 and 13 respectively. And now a possible look on the inside there from Petty, decides best of it. They stay in line. 1, 2, 3 goes Hansen, Petty, and Woonley as they make their way into that final couple of corners. Coming out into the main straightaway to Burt. One more lap into the books. It is 10 to go at the line. Hansen continues to lead.
And so as we get on to another lap here, Ava Hansen continues just to run up front. Looks like Petty and Woonley are content with running in second and third. Malachi has been able to clear that second group. He's up to P4 at the moment, not running times quick enough to catch the front three at the moment. So really, for now, it looks like Hansen, Petty, and Woonley's best bet is to just continue to work together. There's no reason to let Malachi Haight back into the race and just continue to be the three of them running 1, 2, and 3 line astern. Hansen's had the pace all weekend and all year, quite frankly, to run up front and can run herself at the front, not make as many mistakes, and just be consistent. She doesn't have to be taking massive risks. And Jace Petty in second and Jackson Woonley in third, maybe they'll be a little bit more aggressive. But so far, they've just all been content to ride completely line astern, not make any sort of passes, not give other people opportunity to get into the race. And so this has been a good showing so far through the first 2 and a bit laps for Ava Hansen. Coming through the last couple corners here, Hansen builds a little bit of a gap now on Jace Petty, but that's all going to be wiped away by the draft. You can see them. Jackson Woonley made a little bit of a bobble through 14. That will cost him a little bit, but he has the pace to be able to run up with them. It's just about staying consistent and not doing too much in this early running with this pack.
Yeah, so the top three continue to go nose to tail. Like you said, they got to stay consistent and stay fast, because anything else will cause them to have more members a part of the party that I don't think they want to get involved. I think they want to keep it as small as possible, because anything more, they may be able to cost them a chance at a possible win. Well, it looks like Jace Petty, who went purple last lap, is on the back bumper of Hansen, giving a little bit of a distance there between themselves and Jackson Woonley running in the third spot. So they're building up a little bit of real estate with the chance that those two might be able to go back and forth here shortly for just a possibility for a two-kart battle. Although Jackson Woonley has got the toe to his advantage, he's got to stay consistent and hope that 1 and 2 in the front slows down the momentum for the top two so that he can catch back up and be right on the back bumper of Petty and or Hansen if anything were to happen. As they make their way now into turn 13. Nose to tail of the top two, just off the distance of Woonley. He is now closed back up to the back bumper of Petty. Equal distance for the top three as they make their way onto the main straightaway yet again. It's going to be 8 laps to go this time. Petty is now closed up to the back bumper of Hansen, giving a little bit of push down into turn number 1. Woonley trails by about a car length and a half as they now make their way into turn number 2.
So far in this race, again, the top three just continuing to work together now. Jackson Woonley goes purple to get himself back into the lead draft. He's done a nice job to recover from what was a little bit of a mistake coming through turn 14. But really, this just comes down to the top three working together. Malachi Haight does not seem to have the pace to be able to run them down by any means. He's 4.5 seconds off of what Jackson Woonley's doing on track, and he's about 0.8 off from a pace standpoint. So this has not been the start Malachi Haight wanted. Obviously, he's been dealt a bad hand starting from 7th on the grid. But with all three of them working together, there is no way that Haight's going to be able to catch them. So for Ava Hansen, for Jace Petty, and for Jackson Woonley, you want to minimize the passing. Just don't do anything crazy on this portion of the race. Petty looks a little bit more racy on this lap. We'll have to see if he's willing to make a move or if he's just still going to stay content behind Hansen. They have ran the exact same positions already for almost half the race as they come through the final couple corners here. Hansen continues to get a good exit out of the final corner. That might be worth noting later in the race as to if you're wondering what sort of moves to make in that group. Where are people stronger? Where are people weaker? In a race where you have 12 laps to decide what to do in a 3-car pack, you got to keep those things in mind. It's still coming to turn 1. A little bit of a look by Jace Petty, but nothing too crazy as we head towards halfway.
Yeah, so Jace Petty had the opportunity, but now he is going to have a little bit of help there from Jackson Woonley, who went purple last lap. He went from trailing the top two to now being close on the back bumper as they make their way out of turn number 5, heading into turn 7 right now. That is still 1, 2, 3 of Hansen, Petty, and Woonley on the exit of turn 7, heading down towards that quick chicane of the left, right, left, heading towards 11 right now. Top three still nose to tail. It's going to be halfway this next time by, so the laps are continuing to dwindle down. Petty has been staying in P2 along with Woonley in P3. Hansen has led every lap so far, but how much longer until the two behind her, Petty and Woonley, decide that maybe they want to move themselves up a couple position? They have the opportunity to make a move here shortly, but I think they're playing the long-term game here. They've opened up a 5 and almost 5.5 second gap between themselves and the 4th placement of Malachi Haight. This time across the line, they're 1, 2, 3. Petty all over the back bumper of Hansen. Is going to try to turn one. He does not. Cross flags this time. It is halfway heading into turn number 2.
Jace Petty got a better run than we've seen with anybody, that we've seen anyone get on Ava Hansen coming out of the final corner, but could not make anything of it, just continuing to push. Really the smart driving by all three of them. They're not going to make any risks, not going to let Malachi Haight somehow close it in 6 seconds. You're not going to drop a wheel or anything that's going to do it. So you can run within the limits of what you're comfortable with. Continue to just click off laps. Soon enough, we're going to see battling. There's no way it doesn't happen. There's 5 laps. You're going to have 5 laps until the white flag, 6 laps total to go. And this is gearing up to be an exciting race. It looks like all three of them have their separate parts of the track where they're best at. Hansen is best coming out of the last corner. You see, as well as that, Jace Petty has a really good run through turn 1 and turn 2 on most laps. And then Jackson Woolney has kind of been better on the back section as well. So all three of them have their individual strengths, and it's going to come down to who manages the race the best. And I think that that's going to be something to keep an eye on as we get closer to the end of the race. But right now, we're still firmly in a holding platform as of now. Continue to just click off laps, and really nice job by Hansen not making any mistakes, running a solid pace for this pack to follow in behind.
Yeah, and once again, I think Jace Petty's best turn is coming out of turns 15 and heading onto that main straightaway. He is all over the back bumper of Hansen, but then he struggles through the middle parts of the track. He gets a little bit of help there from Jackson Woodley, is like his insurance to make sure that he can keep up with the leader and stay in that tow. Like you said, we're working 5 laps to go. Laps are dwindling. I think they have more than enough real estate. 6.5 seconds the difference between the top 3 and Malachi Haight running in the 4th spot. So it's not a matter of if, but when. We're going to see these top 3 start going tooth and nail, trying to battle it out for that lead. As Jackson Wooley looked like he thought about trying to make a move for the 2nd spot on Petty as they make their way now out of 11. Heading into that new parts of the track of 12, 13. This is one of the better passing opportunities we've seen, but they all stay in line yet again. So fantastic, straightforward race for these guys. Get yourself a lot of insurance in the first couple of laps, and then towards the end, you can think about trying to battle it back and forth. I think when we see 2 flags up in the air, which means 2 laps to go, then we're going to see an all-out battle for the top 3. Down to turn 1, 4 laps remain. It is Hansen, Petty, Woonley still going into turn number 2.
And so right now they continue to just be patient. I mean, Hansen leading the race, making no mistakes. Petty and Woolney are right in tow, and they're putting a second a lap on the rest of the field. So there's no reason to try and make any sort of dumb moves. The only thing you would do here is maybe try to position yourself for the last 2 laps a little bit better. But with 4 laps to go, and with how close the 206 racing is, how important the draft is, there's really no reason to try to position yourself when you know you have the pace to keep up front. So really, this 3-kart race, it's turned into just that. There's 7 karts in the field. Down through the field, you can see a close battle between Malachi Haight and Logan Lackerman, whose catch has already caught back up to Haight. You've seen Cody Lindstrom and Jocelyn Slinker been able to get close together as well. But the story is the front 3 just continuing to run line astern, not making any sort of moves as of yet. We've seen Jackson Woolney fall off a little bit, but now he's back on that lead group. And so it's going to be an exciting finish, because as we head down to 3 to go, they've been patient this whole race. A total of 0 overtaking attempts in that top 3. That might change on this lap, but I doubt it, as it looks like Petty's continues to be convinced to just run right behind Hansen, right on her bumper. He could pass at any moment, but he chooses not to. And as we're 1 lap away from the 2 to go signal, it's going to be exciting, Caleb.
Yeah, I think as soon as we see 2 laps to go, that's when the all-out battle is going to happen. Like I said, they built up a lot of insurance. Now it's at 8 seconds, separates the top 3, and Malachi Haight in 4th. So they could honestly start right now and still have plenty of time at the end to have a little bit of insurance between themselves and Haight running in the 4th position, as they now are halfway completed with 3 laps to go. It's going to be 2 to go at the line. Hansen has led every single lap from the pole. Jace Petty, who started outside pole, has been right there in the 2nd spot, and Jackson Woodley able to get his way into 3rd has been the name of the game. Top 3 the entire race so far as they make their way now into 12 and 13. Coming up into the final parts of this lap, hopefully when the double sticks are up in the air, we could see some intense battle for the lead as they now make their way out of the final couple of corners. Coming down to the stripe. Let's hope that right now they decide to take the gloves off and go for it. It is now double sticks, 2 laps to go at the line for your leader of Ava Hansen, Jace Petty P2, Jackson Wooley in P number 3.
Jace Petty continues to just work with Hansen all the way down. Now we're going to finally see a move. Jackson Wooley, the first pass in the top 3 the whole race, moves himself up to P2. We saw in the heat race these 2 battled it out for 2nd. Let's hope they don't do the same here. Let's see if they're going to work together to get back up to Hansen. Already Wooley able to pull a little bit up to her And now as they come down towards turn 7, it's a 3-car train still, but now move Wolney up to P2, Petty back to P3. Maybe Petty should have made a move in turn 1 to be a little bit more assertive, but at this point, Hansen's going to have to do a lot of defending on this last lap. As we go down to 2 to go, it's going to be an exciting finish, but right now, Wolney's found his way up to P2, now trying to position himself the best he can for this final lap dash, because Ava Hansen has been really good this year at maximizing your finishes. We saw it in Dowsman, we saw it in Newcastle, now we're seeing it here at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, continuing to drive extremely consistent laps. She's been up at the front the whole race. As we come down to the last lap, she has led all 10 laps. It's been Jace Petty who's second for most of the time, but now it's Jackson Wolney to deal with. Coming to the white flag, he's going to make a move into turn 1, passing Hansen. Will Petty go with him? He does not, and now move Jackson Wolney onto the P1 position as we start the last lap.
Yeah, and here comes Petty on the inside. Hansen now goes from the lead back to third. Petty up into P2, and here comes Hansen for the try to do a crossover. Doesn't work out. It is now Wolney up onto the point, and they go down to the defend. Goes Jace Petty, trying to see if he can't hold on to that second spot. He does so, but this is not going to work out into the favor of the leader right now of Jackson Wolney. He's going to hope that the two behind start battling it out for second so he can lock in. That's for win for him. If he can just make it back, half a lap is all he has to do through the chicane for the final time. Coming into turn 11, they are nose to tail. Petty is getting a little bit of help there from Ava Hansen. This is the first time she hasn't led this entire feature. Making the way down to 12 and 13. Does the move happen here? It does not. When does Petty try to make it? He's looking low. Now here comes Wolney to defend. He is going to shut the door onto Petty as they make their way through 12 and 13. He tries to send it over the curb. Petty makes contact with Wolney. And now here comes Ava Hansen with the run. She is back up to second, and now she's got to run the outside line. It is going to be a side-by-side photo finish. Who's it going to be? It's going to go to Jackson Wolney. Is going to take the win here this afternoon. Hansen comes across in P2. Petty comes across in third. They're side-by-side for fourth. It's Malachi Haight with Logan Wackerlin rounding out your top 5. So that was it for your 206 junior events. Next up, we got your mini Swifts, so stay tuned and don't go anywhere as you are watching Kart Chaser.
Kart Store USA is a kart parts supplier that racers and retailers can count on when they need reliable advice and service. We focus on servicing all racers with honesty and pride while maintaining customer satisfaction. We carry a full stock of Kart Republic and Tony Kart chassis, as well as IAMI and Vortex Rock engines. We've also got a host of other parts available and in stock, such as products from Rev Performance Materials, Jecco Racing Seats, and more. We have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, and on top of that, if your order exceeds $200, shipping is on us. Check out all we have to offer today by visiting us online at kartstore-usa.com.
As the Western importer of the Praga and Formula K chassis brands, Leading Edge Motorsports is a high-performance kart shop and race team with a simple mission: teach others the joy of high-performance driving, supply our customers with the highest quality products and services, and most of all, win races. With our remarkable racing inventory, expert services, and top-ranked national-level team to back it up, we'll help to get your new kart racing package up and running fast. From arrive and drive service to kart preparation and driver coaching to the parts you need to get you back on the racetrack, Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer.
Hannah Greenemeyer is going to score the final win of the U.S. Pro Kart Series. Hayden Jones is a national race winner. Nate Cicero wins.
Four-time champion Ryan Norberg winning Super Nationals 24.
Winner, winner, winner.
Are you ready to join one of North America's winningest driver development programs? Rollison Performance Group offers fully customizable packages that are meant to take your game to the next level. For more information, head to rollisonperformancegroup.com.
Back here for the Mini Swift class, another huge really exciting pre-final for them with Asin Drumaliv able to win the pre-final over Brady Schad. A last lap pass for him. Brady Schad will start on the front road alongside him. It's Ethan Tovo, your points leader. Benham Abernathy on row 2 as well. Looking for the green here as they get set to go for the first lap of Mini Swift. It's green and away we go. It's Asin Drumaliv into the lead into turn 1. Schad's going to follow into second. Is he going to try for a move into turn 2? He's going to stay behind. Drumaliv goes defensive. And it looks like Tovo's been able to find himself up into P3. A little bit of chaos coming back, but as we get through the first lap, it looks to be Drumaliv going on the defensive, heading up into turn 4.
Yeah, as they now make their way through turn 4 and coming on to that back straightaway right now. Like you said, Asin Drumaliv is out in front, but how much longer? Because here comes Brady Schad trying to see if he can't get his way on the outside, and at the same time, Ethan Tovo gets passed by Benham Abernathy, and they're still going side by side in the top 2 as they make their way down into turn number 11. Asin falls back now into the second position, and at the same time, Ethan Tovo falls back into 4th as Abernathy is now up into 3rd, and Brady Schad is now leading, making their way into 12 and 13, followed by 14 and 15 right now. The top 4, nose to tail. They're coming up to complete lap number 1 this time by, coming down towards the main straightaway. Asin Drumaliv is out in front, or he's trying to be, I should say. It is actually Brady Schad out in front, and now here comes a freight train on the inside out of Asin. Here comes Abernathy, trying it on the inside, now heading into 2. Does he make it stick as they still go door to door, and it looks like just now that is going to be Abernathy up one more position.
Bennett Abernathy was able to work himself up to the lead briefly in the pre-final, made a little bit of a mistake on the backside of the course, lost the lead group. That was a mistake from him, but now he's working himself back up on the front start of this race. Looks absolutely rapid. He passed Tovo coming to turn 7 last lap. He passed Drumaliv coming through turn 2 this time, and now he sets his sight on Brady Schad, who has been really good in the Millwright Racing Nitro Kart entry coming through turn 10 now as he leads the pack of about 5 karts all the way back to Jackson Tovo in P5. You got the Tovo brothers in 4th and 5th. Again, this has been a good season for them. Ethan in particular leads the point standings, but this has been Brady Schad's show today. We already saw how good he was in the Briggs Cadet class. He came up just short of winning against AJ Stoner. Now he looks to add a win to his resume coming down the front straightaway to complete lap number 2. He's got Benham Abernathy already on his bumper coming into turn number 1. Will Abernathy be patient or will he go for it? We're about to find out, but as they come through turn 2, it's a 5-kart breakaway with Jackson Tovo starting to fall off a little bit at the end of the train.
Yeah, so the top 4 almost count at 5 now as that's Ethan Tovo trying to stay up into the mix right now. Top 3 are semi-nose to tail. That is Brady Schad, Abernathy, followed by Drumaliv in the 3rd position. Right behind him is Jackson Ethan Tovo running 4th and 5th. As you said, it's been a good year so far for both the Tovos. Jackson Tovo, last time by, was the fastest kart on track, running in that 4th position. He does have a little bit of a toe to his advantage, but it's keeping him up into that main pack, so hopefully he can try to use it to his advantage here shortly, as it is going to be 9 laps to go this time by, making the way through the back parts of the track. Coming up towards the start-finish straight this time by, Schad continues to lead over Abernathy in P number 2. Asin in the 3rd position. Let's see if he can't make a move here on the front straightaway, as it looks like in the back parts of the track he's up to 2nd. He is now under pressure coming up into turn number 1. It looks like Tovo may have thought about trying to make a move, so that is now Asin Drumaliv into P number 2 right now as he is working. He is side by side. Count that in the lead. Asin Drumaliv is gotten by Brady Schad heading into turn number 4.
Brady Schad with a bit of a mistake out of turn 2. A little bit uncharacteristic for him so far this weekend, but what a move that was from Drumaliv to drive around the outside of him. And now it is still the top 5 all working together. Ethan Tovo went purple last lap to get himself back up into that mix, and now you can see the whole top 5. They have a lot of pace on the rest of the field, led by Asin Drumaliv now, who we have seen run up front all weekend so far. Did not have the best of qualifying in the pre-final. He was up there. Now in the final, he's worked his way back up to the front after leading the opening lap, falling back a little bit. Now he's back up towards the front, and now we can see, again, we'll have to see what Brady Schad can do. An uncharacteristic mistake from him on the front side of the track. Now on the back side, it looks like he's lost a couple kart links to the leader Drumaliv coming up to the front straightaway. But now as they head on to lap number 4, or complete lap number 4, you can see the front 5 a little bit more spread out now, as it looks like Ethan Tovo is making a move on the inside of Brady Schad. Overcooks it just a little bit. Schad falls into 3rd, and now there's a big gap up to Asin Drumaliv up in P1. So the top 5 are going to have to condense back together and certainly work together if they want to make sure they can keep on with Drumaliv.
Yeah, so they now make their way heading into turn number 7. Now coming onto that backstretch, heading into that chicane yet one more time. Asen Tromelov out in front. Shad P2. Tovo up into P2. Shad P3 as they make their way now through turns number 11, heading into the back parts of the track. Let's see if there's a pass here in this newer parts of the track on that backstretch. There's the rest of your field coming around the bottom of your screen as they work their way through the back parts of the track, coming out of the start-finish straight now. Let's see how it's going to pan out for that top 4. Asen Dromalov has been out front from about 3 or 4 laps ago on, and now Tovo is up in the mix. He goes all the way down to the grass to defend. He has got Brady Schott on the back bumpers to make their way down into turn number 1. It is still going to be Tovo in P2. Schott P3. Asen continues to lead.
That was a little bit of a naughty move there by Tovo down the front straightaway, went all the way down to the inside to block him, then came all the way back up. We'll have to see what the race officials would have to say about that one, but certainly Ethan Tovo with a very, very aggressive blocking move for being second place. Only 5 laps into the race here is now you have Brady Schott in P3 working together with him seemingly. As I say that he goes a little bit wide, but they're all trying to catch us in Drummelov, who has not been the fastest kart on track per se, but he's been consistent where everyone else has made little mistakes and continue battling each other. But this 5-kart train is just continuing to run lap times quicker than the rest of the field. We've seen some mixing up, unlike in the LO206 junior category. As we head out to the backside of the track, it's going to be interesting to see how we continue to see what sort of moves are being made. As Shad early on got up to the lead, fell back to 3rd now with Ethan Tovo in 2nd. We haven't seen him up front all weekend. This is going to be the first realistic shot for him to get the lead as we come down the front straightaway, heading into turn 1 and turn 2. He's not too far enough up to make that move yet as Jackson Tovo in the background goes up into P4, but certainly Ethan Tovo is on the verge of getting back up to the point.
Yeah, so let's see if Ethan Tovo might be able to catch back up to Asen Tromelov as they make their way down into turn number 4 on the exit of 4. Now coming through that quick little kink of turn 5, heading into 6 right now. Followed by 6, heading into 7. It looks like Brady Schott in the 3rd spot, maybe closing into Ethan Tovo faster than Tovo is closing into Asen as they make their way now to that chicane yet one more time. They got halfway this time by. It's going to be 5 to go next time out of 11. And now coming up the hill towards turn 12. This is another good passing opportunity. Does Tovo have enough to get it done here? It looks like he does not. He is going to continue to follow right behind Asen and then right behind Tovo. He's got to be careful because Brady Schott is getting a little eager there to try to get himself up into that 2nd spot. Out of the final corner, coming onto the main straightaway yet again. 5 laps to go at the line. It is Asen out in front, and he has opened up a huge gap. Schott pushing on the back bumper of Tovo, trying to get him to catch back up to the leader.
Again, we see Ethan Tovo go a little bit defensive. That time a little bit less egregious than the time before. But certainly he has got the pace to run up with Dremilov. Just cannot quite get him all the way up there. Meanwhile, Brady Schott in P3 went purple that time around. Jackson Tovo again on the start of last lap was able to get through a bit of Abernathy. Those 5 karts, and really it's the 4, and now Abernathy's starting to fall off the train a little bit, have shown themselves to be the class of the field. Dremilov has just been controlling the race. He got up to the back up to the lead on lap 4. Has been in control ever since. Brady Schott fell back a little bit, but now he's running purple laps. And Ethan Tovo, he's been in the back half of the top 5 all weekend long. But now, as we get to the final on Saturday, the final few laps of today's final, it really seems like Tovo has one of the fastest karts. It's going to be up to him to get by Dremel. So we now see in the backside, it looks like that might have been a pass for the lead. We're going to have to check it as we come onto the main straightaway. And I believe when they re-emerge, it is going to be Ethan Tovo up to the race lead ahead of Asen Dromalov. And then you've got Brady Schott, who's now going a little bit of a lower line into turn 1. But Ethan Tovo, for the first time all weekend, finds himself up in the race lead.
Yeah, so how about that for an exchange of the lead. Ethan Tovo leading for the first time, registered the last time across the stripe as they make their way down into turn number 4. There's a pass on the inside. That is Schott getting around Asen Dromalov, pushing him back into the 3rd position. Here comes the other Tovo, Jackson Tovo, trying to see if he can't get himself up onto the podium as Asen Dromalov got his nose on the inside. Oh, and off the track goes Brady Schott. He has spun around the wrong direction and out of the mix. So he went from being in 2nd and a strong contender for the win to now being way outside the frame and back into the 7th or 8th position. So it was a 4-kart battle for the lead, is now down to 3. Tovo, Dromalov, and Tovo are going to be the 3 battling it out for the win here this afternoon. This time across the stripe, look for 3 laps to go, making the way out of the chute, coming down towards the start-finish straight. It is going to be 3 laps to go at the line. Tovo leads over Tromolov, and here comes Jackson Tovo on the inside of Tromolov, tries to get his nose in, but gets pinched off last second into turn number 2.
Tromolov giving no love there to Jackson Tovo, trying to make it Tovo 1-2. He'll have to wait on that. Ethan Tovo's got a little bit of a comfortable gap. Again, a mistake by Brady Schad on that last lap. Maybe got a little bit of help there, but certainly not ideal for him. It brings the lead group down to 3 as they've completely dropped Venom Abernathy down to 2.4 seconds is the gap now. As Tromolov runs really wide on exit of turn 7, trying to get as much as he can out of the car, but it looks like Tovo just has that little bit more speed. Jackson Tovo in P3 also has a lot of speed compared to what his brother and what Asin was able to do on that last lap. And so for all of these guys, it is going to come down to just being patient. Obviously, you will probably see Ethan and Jackson try to work together, but we've seen in the past, we saw up at GoPro last year, a little bit of a mistake between both of them trying to work, not working together and getting into each other. This year, they've worked pretty well together, but as they get down to 2 to go, it's going to be critical that they try to work together to make the most of their opportunities against Asin Drumel, who's been fast all weekend and looks really good in this main event.
Yeah, so it's 2 to go at the stripe. Dromolov all over the back bumper of Tovo now heading into turn number 2. He can't get it done there. He is now going to try for the crossover. It's got it set up on the exit of 3. Does he try it going into 4? The possibility is there. Tovo defends just a little bit on the entry of 4, but not enough to get it done. Meanwhile, Ethan's support and his brother of Jackson Tovo's running right behind Asin as they make their way now in through turns number 7, heading up towards the chicane of 8, 9, and 10. There is a lap cart right in front. Let's see how quickly they're able to dispose of him. They're going to sit on the inside. There goes Tovo. Asin, the lapper actually goes into the barrier. I think he tried to wait wide to let him go by, dip some wheels into the marbles, but now he unfortunately, race is over for him. Meanwhile, your leaders making the way into 12, 13, and 14. It looks like it is going to be now Asin Dromolov back up onto point. He is going to be leading the way coming out of the final turn. White flag will be in the air. Asin leads over the Tovo brothers coming down into turn number 1. And let's see, they go to the inside to defend. Here comes Ethan on the inside. Ethan, now your new leader. And it looks like Asin may try for a crossover move.
Yeah, heading now, Ethan Tovo briefly lost the lead on the backside of the track, but now Jackson almost pushes Asin Dromolov up to the outside of his brother. That's going to work out now, where now Jackson's going to try on the outside of Asin. Doesn't work out for him. Dromolov into P2 still. Now Ethan Tovo, they get together coming out of the chute, coming up towards turn 7, and that's going to give a gap to Ethan Tovo. It allows Jackson Tovo into P2. So the top 3 have settled themselves out, and that might have played Asin Dromolov out of contention for this race, as Ethan Tovo now leads Jackson Tovo. He's got about a cart length advantage on him. Certainly nothing set in stone yet, but Jackson Tovo, a nice move through the chute. They made contact. Looked like Drumel got a little bit in the grass. Now Jackson's going for the lead coming through the kink. That might lift Asin back in the lead, but it allows for Jackson Tovo to get to the race lead. And now as they go through the back section, it looks as if Jackson Tovo has done enough. He's going to come out of the final corner. He's got about 2 car lengths on Asin Drumel, who's been able to get by Ethan Tovo. But as they come to see the checkered flag, it looks like it's going to be a nice win for Jackson Tovo, who comes across the line. An outstanding victory. He was 5th at one point in that group, gets all the way up to the lead, and wins the Mini Swift final. Coming down through the rest of the top 5, we've got Asin Drumel in P2, Ethan Tovo in P3. Benham Abernathy could not hang on to that lead group. He ends up P4. Ray Speckman in P5. Brady Schad, after the spin, able to come back to finish in 6th. Devin Walls, your outside front row sitter on the pre-final, finish in 7th. Brandon Saraki, a nice run for him in 8th. Landon Buer in P9. And Jacob Scheibel rounds out your top 10 for the Mini Swift category. Again, a nice run for the Mini Swift. A really good fight for the lead in the last few laps. And then that is going to wrap up the D&J International Services Mini Swift category. But coming up next, we've got the 206 medium category, where we've seen Adam Maxwell fight with that Alex Feldstein all day long. We're going to see more of that coming up next on Kart Chaser.
USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com. If you're looking for top-grade equipment, look no further than Rev Performance Materials engine mounts, sprockets, and arcade chains. Available online now at RevPerformanceMaterials.com and through a dealer near you. The highest quality material, built to the highest quality standards. Rev Performance Materials.
Got you. Back again for Briggs, 206 Senior Medium, sponsored by Millwright Incorporated. A really interesting class here as we get 5 carts set to go for this final. 12 laps in distance. We saw Alex Feldstein in the pre-final able to make it stick over Adam Maxwell. Kind of the first time we've seen Maxwell challenge all year in the LO206 category at the Route 66 Sprint Series, dating back to Newcastle where he was beaten by Mick Gabriel. So other than that, a really good season for Maxwell. He's going to have to find a way to beat Feldstein in this race with some help from his teammate Braden Johnson, who's also in the mix. Those two AMAX racing carts have done a phenomenal job over the course of the season working together. So just working on the start of this race now, getting set to go green for LO206 Senior Medium. Let's look for it. Let's get it. It's going. Alex Feldstein to the race lead on the start already. Adam Maxwell slots into second ahead of Braden Johnson as they head down into turn 2. You can see Feldstein goes defensive. Might not have been the best decision there as Adam Maxwell's able to easily cross him over. Coming up into turn 4 now as we continue to see. Now, Feldstein, again, blocking up. He's found a way to keep the lead despite what Maxwell's able to do crossing over. And Feldstein, now as the two teammates fight behind him, has a clear view of P1. And now he's not going to have to block into turn 7. Johnson's been able to get through on Adam Maxwell as well to get into P2. So now Braden Johnson's going to be the guy tasked with hunting down Alex Feldstein, who early on in the race we saw in the pre-final, he was able to work himself up pretty quickly after kind of poor showing in the wet. In the final, he looks like he has good pace early on as well. So now Alex Feldstein's going to have to hold on against 2 AMAX racing carts in second and third. Braden Johnson, we haven't seen him leading Adam Maxwell a lot this season, but here he is. He's now in second within a cart length or so of Feldstein. Going to have to see as he gets a good run onto the main straightaway, already pulling out the pass before they even get towards the start-finish line. Johnson's going to pull out. It looks like he's got the position on Feldstein. Feldstein's going to try to hang it around the outside. Can't quite do it. Maxwell hops the curb to try to get into this action into second. Cannot do it. And now it's Braden Johnson to the point. Ahead of Alex Feldstein, you've got Adam Maxwell back into P3. Still just kind of biding his time in there. Those three have pulled a good gap to Jalen Kurt in P4. And as Brian Glasgow has fallen off in P5. So as a whole, this has been a good, eventful start to the race with Braden Johnson in P1. Now as we see Maxwell coming into turn 7, making a move on Alex Feldstein. Now it's the AMAX 1-2. We saw that a lot in the pre-final. Feldstein's going to have to work his way back up through the field, but at the moment, it's the front 3. It's Braden Johnson who's got a little bit of a gap now to Adam Maxwell, about 3 cart lengths. And so as we head up to the turn 12 area, it's going to be very critical that Johnson continues to put in clean laps. He's now got his teammate as a little bit of a buffer behind, but knowing Adam Maxwell, he does not like to sit in second for very long. He's been someone that's been up front a lot this season. And so as we head on to the end of the second lap of this race, Braden Johnson again leads us down to the start-finish line. Last lap he was able to get a really good run onto the start-finish straight. This time it's Maxwell getting the good run. He's going to push his teammate coming into turn 1. And as they head up into turn 2, they've been able to build a couple tenths gap on Alex Feldstein in P3. And so that's going to be interesting to see as now Maxwell and Bronson both go slower out of turn 2, allowing Feldstein to get closer to the two of them. And that is going to be, again, Alex Feldstein just trying his best to hang on to the front 2. Maxwell has to kind of weigh up whether it's worth him going for the lead, battling up his teammate, potentially losing him as a teammate in P2, or if he's going to just stick behind Johnson, kind of do what's safe and continue to push behind a teammate who clearly has a good amount of pace early on in this race. They're still pulling a big gap to Jalen Kerr back in P4, even if it's just not quite as quick as what we saw in the pre-final. So Maxwell, it's up to him to decide whether or not he wants to make the move, and then we're just continuing to watch him and see what he's able to do on Braden Johnson, his teammate. As they come through the backside of the track, it looks like Johnson continues to lead over Maxwell. Feldstein's done a good job of just staying in behind the two teammates. He doesn't have to run quite as fast every single lap, but just stay consistent. Stay to the point where if they make any sort of battling maneuvers, he's right there to pick up the crumbs. So this has been a really good start to the race for Feldstein, all things considered. He hasn't been dropped. Even if he's about 3 or 4 tenths off that comes from the straightaway, he's been able to stay in that group, and it looks like Johnson just lacks a little bit of that raw pace to lead the race and pull away from Feldstein. So it might be time for Maxwell to try something. We'll have to see what they decide to do, but certainly Feldstein just doing all he can to stick into that lead group through 3 laps so far. 9 laps to go in this race. You're already seeing the front 3. They have about a 2.9 second gap on Jalen Kerr. They continue to get faster and faster. Feldstein, again, he's able to stick with it about 2 or 3 cart lengths throughout the entire lap. And then on the straightaway, he loses a little bit more, but over the course of the lap, he's not really losing enough to where he's in danger of losing the draft. But this can be critical that he doesn't make any mistakes, because one wheel off, one overcorrection, one overdriving the corner, one missing the corner, and he is going to be out of the draft, and those two are going to continue working together. So as we come back onto the main straight now, getting back through the backside of the course, Braden Johnson continues to lead. Feldstein's got a good exit again from the last corner. He's going to come on the straight. This is the closest he's been to Feldstein entering the straightaway, and it looks like Johnson's still going to lead with Maxwell and Feldstein line astern. Feldstein went purple that lap, 107.973. Again, just hanging on to the back of Maxwell and Johnson. He doesn't have to be purple every lap, but he needs to stay in that draft and needs to not allow them to push away. And on Adam Maxwell's side, again, you have to weigh up whether or not it's worth the risk of losing your teammate in P2 or if it's worth trying to get in the lead. If Maxwell thinks he's got better pace, you think he's got to make the move. Looks a little bit to the outside to kind of set up Johnson there. Doesn't do anything with it, though. And now, as they come out of the corner, they've dropped Feldstein a little bit coming out of turn 7. Coming up, they continue to push each other, just nose to tail, being very disciplined. Like we saw in the LO206 junior race, that one was with 3 karts. Again, all of them working together. This one looks more like Johnson and Maxwell trying their best to push away from Feldstein. And even though it's not been effective, it's been an efficient way to make sure they're not cannibalizing each other. They can run together. They continue working together throughout the race weekend. And even if it doesn't work out for one of them, the other one can sit on front. So again, heading up to the main straight. Again, a good exit from Feldstein, but this time he's a kart length back, and we're going to see that gap continue to grow down the front straightaway as Maxwell continues to push Braden Johnson, and he gains about a kart length in relation to Feldstein. Now, Adam Maxwell decides this is the time to go. He's pulled enough of a gap to Feldstein. He feels comfortable doing it, and now move Adam Maxwell back up to the lead of this race. I believe that's the first time he's led the entire race, and really since the pre-final. So Adam Maxwell over Braden Johnson. Feldstein unable to follow him through for P2, and now we'll have to see what the other AMAX Racing driver can do up at the front of the field, if he can be any quicker than what Braden Johnson was able to do, as they've got 7 laps to go. There's still a 3-kart race. Really, the other guys in 4th and 5th, and Jalen Kurt and Brian Glasgow, are too far back to have any sort of impact. So this is going to be 2v1 in a lot of ways. It's going to be Johnson and Maxwell versus Feldstein. We'll have to see how patient Feldstein is, because now it looks like he has opportunities to head onto the backside of the track to make a move on on Braden Johnson for P2, and if he wants to break them up, that might be the best strategy, is to do it early and not allow them to push. But Maxwell coming out of the final corner, a good run to give himself a little bit of a gap onto the straightaway ahead of Braden Johnson. Feldstein's not far away from Johnson, although he loses a lot coming up through the kink, and now he's about 2 car lengths back. And so Adam Maxwell leads his first lap of the weekend, goes purple in the process, a 107.8 for the AMAX Racing number 141 kart ahead of his teammate Braden Johnson. Alex Feldstein continues to run in 3rd place. They just got the cross flag, 6 down, 6 to go. It's been an exciting race so far, with Maxwell just kind of biding his time for the first 5 laps, got himself up to the lead. Now we'll see what kind of pace he can run. We already saw the glimpses of it going purple. Johnson, though, stayed right with him, and Feldstein as well has matched the pace as well. So all 3 of those guys continue to run about equal pace when it comes to just comparing each other. And even though Feldstein loses at times, he's not able to draft up to them quite as well. He's been good enough in the back section of the track to save him when it comes to keeping up with them and not losing the draft. And that's all you need, because once you get down to the end of the race, it is going to be all holds bar. And now Feldstein looks a little bit to the outside. It looks like he almost went to dip a wheel there, going all the way, using all the track possible on the outside of the king, able to stay in 3rd, able to get a good run on exit. But now we'll have to see all 3 of the karts equally apart. I would not expect any sort of move here. Johnson content to push his teammate as they go down to 5 laps to go now, continuing to just work on the laps, continue to pound them out. Feldstein went purple that time at 107.5. They have picked up the pace tremendously since when Braden Johnson was leading. When Johnson was leading, they were doing 108 flats. Now they picked up half a second. So a really good session now for Adam Maxwell up at the lead. Even if he's not pulling away, he's running a quicker pace. He's forcing them to push as much as they can on their stuff to keep up with him. And so for this race, this is critical for Adam Maxwell to just continue to not make any mistake. For Braden Johnson, working with his teammates seems to be the avenue he wants to go in. For Feldstein, he's got to find a way to break him up. I mean, this is something we've seen over the years. When you have a 2-on-1 situation, the best way to defend yourself is to be in 2nd place and to break up the 2 teammates. And that seems to be what Feldstein hasn't been able to do really since the opening lap, when he was able to get into P1 and then lose the position of Braden Johnson. So At the moment, it looks like Feldstein is okay with running in third, but he also hasn't had that many opportunities to make a pass. But now coming back onto the front straightaway, good run on the exit of turn 14 from Braden Johnson, able to pull a gap from Feldstein. Again, we're not really that focused on if Johnson makes a move on Maxwell, because we've seen already that they're willing to just work with each other. It's really the gap between Johnson and Feldstein, and the more he can keep that gap open, the less likely it is that he's going to intervene as they come down to 4 laps to go. Again, 107.6 is for the 2 leaders, 107.8 for Alex Feldstein. They've continued to run up at the front. They're continuing to work together. We've really only seen one pass attempt, and that was from Maxwell to get himself up in the race lead since the first lap. And Adam Maxwell continues to run consistent pace. The last 2 laps within 2/100ths of a second of each other. He's not pulling away from the rest of this group, but he's doing just enough to keep himself out in the front and force them to run with as much pace as they had. Feldstein is doing everything he can to stick in that group, and he's doing a good job on the backside of the track to get himself back in the up in the draft. As you see now, he's about 2 car lengths back, but by the time you get to the back hairpin, he's going to be up there because of the fact that he's better through the kink and he's better through turn 12. So heading down now through into turn 12, this is where Feldstein has done really good throughout the weekend and throughout this race in particular. And again, out of 14, he loses just a little bit. He loses more down the straightaway. Doesn't really gain it back until the end of the lap, but certainly for Alex Feldstein, this has been a good job for him to stay in the draft, but now he's going to have to find a way to get by Braden Johnson because time is ticking now. There's only 3 laps to go. Next time by, we'll get the sticks in the air. Maxwell just went his best off of the race of 107.4, but Feldstein was the one that went purple, 107.3. Again, they have really raised the notch on their pace. They started the race in the low 109s. Now they're down to the mid 107s. Maxwell is setting a really good pace, and they're all 3 just going with them. So heading down now, Feldstein continues to just try his best to stay in this draft. And we'll have to see when Braden Johnson wants to make a move, because he's not going to be content just being the perfect teammate every single lap of the race. I can guarantee you that much. But when you get down to 1 or 2 laps to go, it might be time for him to make a move and make his implant and try to beat his teammate Adam Maxwell, who has been so good in the LO206 program this year.
Yeah, so they make their way down over into turns 12 and 13 right now. Looks like Johnson, like you said, playing perfect teammate right now to Adam Maxwell out in front. But I don't think Feldstein is going to be too keen if he continues to play teammate. He may try to get around him quickly and then hope he can try to work the draft to his advantage, because right now we're looking at 2 to go this time by. And right now no one's close enough to make a move. Maybe Feldstein could if he wanted to pop down last second here, but he decides to stay in line as they make their way down into turn number 2. Does Feldstein go here? He does not. He stays on the back bumper of Braden Johnson, running up in the second spot. They're both in the toe of Adam Maxwell. Maxwell, if you recall back to Badger, Wisconsin, he had a very easy and straightforward race for him. He pulled away by about 4.5 seconds on both days of Saturday and Sunday. Now he is struggling a little bit because he's got more competition than he did before, both from his teammate of Braden Johnson, also from Feldstein, as they make their way out of turn number 7, heading into that 8, 9, 10 complex. So they are all in a line. I don't think Johnson's close enough to make a move on Maxwell just yet. Feldstein could pop out on the inside of Johnson if he decides to go for it right here, but it looks like he's going to stay in line and continue to push this next time by. We're looking at the white flag. 1 more lap to go for these 3 out in front. Again, very straightforward race from the start. There's a possibility down into turn 1 if Feldstein can get a good enough run on Johnson now. It looks like Maxwell has enough security. You can see him up on the wheel. He is about 4, maybe 5 car lengths ahead. And it looks like Feldstein's not going to pass into 1. Is he going to do it into 2? He's looking on the inside. Possibility for it. A little late on the brakes there. He gets cut off by Johnson. And I think Johnson just may have secured the second spot for him. But at the same time, I think he took himself out of contingency of getting around Maxwell.
Yeah, it looks like smooth sailing from Adam Maxwell now. Probably the fastest car on the track this whole race. He's been able to lead the race for the second half of it. Figured out that it was time for him to go to get past Braden Johnson. And he's been sitting in blistering pace. The 2 in second and third, Johnson and Feldstein did a nice job of being able to stay up with them, but just not quite enough. Feldstein tried to move into 2, did not work for him. You almost wonder if he should have pulled the trigger into turn 1. But hey, that's racing sometimes. When you're racing against 2 teammates, it is tough to do a lot. And certainly a really nice run from Adam Maxwell and Braden Johnson. They've done everything right in this race. For Johnson, this is the closest I feel like he's come to winning a race in the Route 66 Sprint Series on the 206 platform in this entire season, certainly compared to what he did in Dowsman. But for Adam Maxwell, not quite as dominant as what we saw in Dowsman, but he's going to come and take the checker flag. As the lapper gets the white flag, it's going to be Adam Maxwell coming to the line. It's going to be closer than anticipated, but he gets the checkered flag to win over Braden Johnson and Alex Feldstein in the LO206 Senior Medium, sponsored by Millwright Inc.
So that will do it for our 206 medium class. When we come back, we got your micro Swifts still yet to come here, followed by our KA100 junior class. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere.
USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com.
Back here for the start of the Micro Swift category, getting set to go. A lot of excitement in the pre-final, and we're getting set to go now, looking for the green flag. We've got it as Ty Majeski gets started off on the Jacob Majeski gets start off into P1 at the start of the race. Looks like that's going to be AJ Stoner into P2 from the outside front row. Holden Harder settles into P3. The guy we're really looking at down in the start is Cameron Marshall, who had a mechanical failure in the pre-final. He started all the way back in P14, and now as we get set, Majeski has a clean run up through the first few corners. He's into the race lead, and as I say that, we're going to be looking at the rest of the field now, dropping all the way back to about 7th or 8th. It looks like there's a good pack there, and as we get set on the first lap, let me go ahead and introduce Dalton Haynes, my guest announcer for this one race. Dalton, you've been out of the seat for a little bit, but as you get back in and watch this micro race, what are you looking for in this one?
Yeah, the micro is a bit spread out right now. There's only, I think they're only bunched up in 4th place right now. So you're just going to look to make your steady pace forward. I mean, it's first lap, obviously. You just want to keep your nose clean the first couple laps and then really focus on just moving through the field, depending on where you're at on the track.
Got you. Now as we look towards the end of the first lap, you've got Jacob Majeski, who looks to have the early race lead, working with Holden Harder. We saw those two work together in the pre-final very well, and they continue to do so at the start of this final now. Harder and Majeski, about a 0.6 of a second gap to AJ Stoner back in P3. You got Slayton Baldock into P4, and all of them have really played it clean early on. Now looking for where Cameron Martian is. The championship points leader Marcia came into the race undefeated on the season. He's in 12th. He's a full 5.4 seconds back. We know he has the pace to run up front, but will he have the time? And as we see now through the rest of the order, just looking back through it, it looks like it's all going to come down to Majeski and Harder up at the front. But how quickly can Marcia get up through the field? That will dictate how they strategize this race. And as you look through the rest of the field, you've got AJ Stoner, your Briggs 206 Sportsman winner, and Slayton Baldock working together in third and fourth. They're going to have a lot of work to do to catch up with Majeski and Harder. As they come through the backside of the section again, Majeski and Harder stay nose to tail, heading on to the front straightaway, getting set to do another lap. And man, I mean, we have to say, it's been really nice seeing them work together. They've been mature beyond their ages so far in both the pre-final and the final as they click off another lap, working nose to tail with a solid gap back to AJ Stoner in third.
Yeah, Holden Harder really making it obvious that he's willing to work with Jacob Majeski. He really wants to push him to get away. He saw what they did in the other races. He knows that he just needs to have a partner and push through the field to be able to get a gap on third place, so you can just have a one-on-one battle for a lead in those final closing laps. So he's making it obvious that he wants to push and he wants to work together so that he can have the opportunity to win this race later on without anyone else getting in his way.
Yeah, and for Jacob Majeski, this is a really good experience leading a race for him. We saw up in Dowsman, he was kind of second in command to Cameron Marcia from a pace standpoint. Looked like the only guy that really had the pace to challenge him at any point over the course of the weekend. Majeski's got a clean run so far. Harder has been up front a lot this season in the micro ranks. He's right behind him, willing to work with him, as you mentioned, Dalton. And as I say that, he looks like he dropped a little bit of a wheel on exit, lost about 2 or 3 car lengths. So that's a major mistake for him. Majeski now has a bit of a lead up at the front, but those two have worked so well together that AJ Stoner in third, he's been able to claw back a little bit on the slap, but he's still just not able to find the pace to match them. As he does a 105.5, a full 7/10 off of what Jacob Majeski does in the lead. Looking down through the rest of the field, Cameron Marcia continues to work his way up. He's doing 105.3s. That's not enough to match what Majeski's doing at the front, but it's enough to probably get him in contention for the podium. But looking at the front battle again, Majeski has Harder back on his tail. And it's going to be interesting to see now that Harder sees how much more pace he has, and he's been able to claw up that gap in just a couple of corners, if he's willing to make a move now. As we go down to still 9 laps to go, it's early on in the race. There's a lot of reason to be patient, but Majeski knows he has the pace. Harder knows he has even more pace. And as we look towards the back section of the track coming up through the kink, you have to wonder if this is when Harder might think about making a move or if he's going to continue to stay patient like they've done in the pre-final in the first couple of laps.
Yeah, Majeski and Harder are really running faster laps than just about everyone on track. They're definitely going to be, I think it's going to be a 2-horse race this race. I don't think anyone's really going to catch them.
Yeah, and so far looking at their pace now is Majeski. Looks like he goes a little bit defensive coming down through the kink. Comes back up the track again. We saw that with Ethan Tovo in the Swift race. Not sure how that was judged. Not as bad for Majeski as he came up well before Harder needed an opportunity to come up alongside him, but certainly still a bit of a defensive move for him. Meanwhile, Cameron Marcia into 7th place, goes purple from 7th with a 104.7, about a 10th quicker than Holden Harder, 2/10 quicker than Jacob Majeski. He's not going to catch those two unless something crazy happens. But for Harder, for Marcia, this is damage limitation. Again, broke down in the pre-final while leading by about 3 or 4 seconds. He's won every race this season. He's been up at the front, won almost every session as well. So for him, he's got the championship in pretty good case, but this is about maximizing his points, just finding a way. And up at the front, for these two guys with Jacob Majeski and Holden Harder, they're continuing to try to find a way to work together. Harder has been really patient. He drove all the way up to the back of Majeski again last lap, but was patient enough to not make a move. Now they've got over a 2.5 second gap back to AJ Stoner in third. Stoner just does not have the pace to keep up with the two that we've seen maybe from him over the course of the season and from this weekend. But now heading back down the front straight again, a little bit of an aggressive defensive move from Majeski, running a lower line on the kink, but it's not really something that's going to keep Harder from making a pass. Just to kind of discourage him from driving alongside him too early. And now, as they exit turn 3 now, Harder gets a really good run. Majeski goes defensive for a little bit. Harder right back onto this bumper. They continue to work together. AJ Stoner in third sets his fastest lap of the race, still a while way back though. And as we continue on, coming to halfway on this lap, you have to say Jacob Majeski is doing a good job of managing this race. And Dalton, as someone that's done a lot of leading in races, both at the club level and at the national level, what are some of the things that you try to keep in mind as you're up at the front in a situation like this with only one kart behind you that could challenge you?
Well, as you're leading in a two-kart battle like this, you really just want to keep your head forward. Just hit your marks. Don't make any mistakes, because if you do, the person behind you is going to want to go by. They're only there pushing you so that you can make your way forward through the ahead of the field to get a gap. So if you start making mistakes, you're no longer doing that. So then you're no longer useful to them. So they're not going to keep pushing you. So they're going to want to go by. So just hit your marks, focus up, focus forward, and try to go as fast as you can.
Yeah, and speaking of mistakes, it looked like Jacob Majeski made a slight one coming out of turn 2 on last lap. This time much better, much more clean. Gets a good exit there. Again, Harder seems to have a lot more pace there, maybe a little bit of a higher gear, but he's still willing to push up. As now we look back towards the battle with Cameron Marshall, who just went purple again with a 104.7. There you can see him on the screen. He's caught up to the back of the group with Tucker Treve and Drew Walls. It looks like Treve just got passed by Drew Walls coming up into turn 4. Now Walls is in P5, Treve is in P6. Marsha has done such a good job to claw that back. He's running times as quick as what the lead 2 are on their best laps. He's a 10th quicker than him on this most recent lap, but certainly for Marsha, again, just limitation. We'll have to see how quickly he can get through this battle for 5th position. Drew Walls, again, another guy who's on the front row for the pre-final, just hasn't had the pace on the dry. Tucker Treve, a little bit of a younger driver, still trying to find a little bit more footing in the Microswift level, as now he goes down the inside of Treve, 4P6 on track. Marsha move himself up a race. He's halfway up through the field, but he's going to run out of time before the end of the race, but still a really good effort as we focus our efforts back on the front of the field. And it looks like something has happened to Holden Harder on the backside of the track as Jacob Majeski is all alone up at the front of the field. Harder is falling down the order.
Holden Harder
something
is
down
out.
with him.
Yeah, he's out on the
hill. It looks like he's got an issue on the outside of the track and is out of the race. A heartbreak for Holden Harder, who had done all the patience, been so patient working with Jacob Majeski throughout the race. Now he's going to be stuck watching from the sidelines as Majeski now has a clear track in front of him. All the reason in the world to be confident. He doesn't have to push too hard, just can kind of hit his marks, and he'll have this main event wrapped up for this Microswift category.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for Holden Harder. As we see, Cameron Marsha is actually making his way through very well. He's found a lot of pace in the later half of this race. Hopefully he can make it up into the top podium ranks coming back from last place. He looks really fast, but Jacob Majeski got lucky on that one with Holden Harder having the issues. He can just focus forward, run some nice clean laps. He'll be easy to win this race. It'll be easy, nice fun race for him.
Yeah, and for Majeski, this is one of those races where he's just been able to run comfortably up ahead. He's got a big gap on AJ Stoner. Stoner was quicker on this past lap, but now the focus comes to Cameron Marsha for the opportunity to get on the podium. But for Majeski, he's a guy that's had 3 podiums this year, but no wins. He's been second in command to Cameron Marsha for so much of the year. Entered the race over 200 points back. Not really thinking about the championship, but this is a groundbreaking opportunity for Jacob Majeski to get a very signature win in the Route 66 Sprint Series. Focusing through on the rest of the field, you continue to see Cameron Marsha find his way up towards the front of the field. He's almost up to the podium. He's only about half a second back from the third place of Slayton Baldock, who's had a good weekend, but Marsha is on a charge right now. As I say that, he almost drops the wheel, but he has had so much pace in that kart over this final.
Yeah, Cameron Marshall really on it, trying to go for a podium position here. I don't think he has the pace to be able to catch AJ Stoner. I think AJ Stoner and Jacob Majeski will be fine to be P1 and 2. I think that's solidified. But Cameron Marshall definitely has a shot at catching up to Slayton Baldock.
Yeah, and as they go down to 3 laps to go now, crossing the line, Majeski equalized the gap to Stoner here. He's not got any pressure from behind. He can just cruise. We already saw AJ Stoner get his first career Route 66 victory earlier in the day and breaks 206 it has. Now we see a battle shaping up for P3. Marsha gonna go for the podium. He's got the podium. He's got P3 from Slayton Baldock. Will we see Baldock fight back? We'll have to see. He's brought back 4th through 6th in that battle as well with Drew Walsh and Tucker Treve as well. Marsha now onto the podium. It's been a good race for him. He's not going to get up to AJ Stoner more than likely, but still commendable effort from starting back on the grid. But still, as now we see the battle for 4th raging on. So Slayton Baldock has been good all weekend, but it's been a lot through the rain. In the dry, His pace has not been that great. He's about 3/10 a lap slower than what Drew Walls and Tucker Trebe has done. Marsh's already cleared him. It looks like Marsh's going to be out in the clear. Now we see a look potentially for Tucker Trebe coming into turn 12. Doesn't make it stick. And now Marsha leads this group onto the backside of the track, heading down the straightaway to come down to 2 laps to go. It's been a fantastic effort for him to get to the podium. They're too far back to make any sort of move, but the battle for 4 through 6 continues to rage on, and we'll have to see if Slayton Baldock can find anything to challenge Marsha, and if he can keep 5th and 6th of Drew Walls and Tucker Trebe behind him.
Yeah, Cameron Marsha's done a great job in this race to keep his nose clean and just move forward consistently through the race. He didn't make too many dangerous moves. He just made passes where he needed to. Did really good job of not running into anyone too hard, not pushing his bumper in. He's just making a steady pace through the field, and I think he will be able to pull away from Sam Baldock. I don't think he'll get any trouble from Sam, but I do think that Slayton Baldock. But I do think that Slayton Baldock will be in a fight with Drew Waltz and Tucker Trebe.
Yeah, for sure, and it looks like that battle from 4th to 6th is starting to shape up, although with that being said, Marshall looked like he made a little bit of a bobble coming through the kink. He's not quite as far ahead now, and it looks like really is 3rd through 5th at this point, with Tucker Trebe starting to fall a little bit too far behind. As they come down to get the white flag, you can see AJ Stoner, but look at Cameron Marsha. He's kind of lost a little bit of pace on this last lap, but I don't think it's going to be enough for Baldock to be able to get up to him. Baldock runs his fastest lap of the race, so 105.2 to get within about 4/10 of what Marsha's doing. In the meantime, behind him, Drew Walls and Tucker Trebe, again, another close battle. Half a second between those two. Elsewhere, down through the field, Callahan, Myers, and Greg Keehan is someone that they're fighting for 7th and 8th at the moment. They're about 3/10 of a second apart, and you can see them fighting for that position on the backside. But certainly for the battle from 3rd on back, it looks like Marsha's got it, and it looks like the only battle we're going to see is Drew Walls and Tucker Trebe for P5 and P6, as you can see them coming up the hill now, up towards turn 8, 9, and 10. Now you can see Marsha and Baldock going through there. Now you're going to see those two. This is going to be the one opportunity for Tucker Trebe. Will probably be coming into the hairpin, but that will not take anything away from an outstanding race from Jacob Majeski. As you can see, coming through this lap, you're going to see Walls go defensive, but the bigger story is Jacob Majeski as he comes down to the kink to take his first Route 66 victory of the year in Micro Swift. Jacob Majeski with a slowing down celebration, 2 hands up in the air. He takes the victory. Again, a little bit fortunate with Holden Harder retiring, but an outstanding drive for the Merlin driver. AJ Stoner comes across to take 2nd. Cameron Marsha in P3. Slayton Baldock finishes up in 4th, and Drew Walls hangs on against Tucker Trebe to get the top 5. The native of Boise, Idaho, put it on the front row early on in the TBD cart. He's able to finish off the season with a nice P5. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Tucker Trebe in P6. Callahan Myers comes home with P7. Greg Heeren comes up in P8. Christopher Yetzi fought through a difficult race to finish in 9th, and Sebastian Kohler, who went in the barriers in the pre-final, ends up P10 in the final. But the bigger story down through the field was Holden Harder retiring from the race, and obviously an outstanding race for Jacob Majeski, his first career win. An outstanding race from Cameron Marsha to go from 14th to 3rd, and AJ Stoner continues to be consistent in the category. But that is all for today from Quicksim Micro Swift. We have a first winner of the year. Marsha's undefeated season is over, and that is all for the young cadet drivers. But now, coming up next, we have another one of our exciting KA Junior races coming up next up on tap. It's going to be an exciting one. We've already seen quite a bit of action in that one. Henry Wheeler will start the race from pole position, and on the other end of the field, Austin Olds, his championship rival, and someone who's been in the championship and who has been winning races up in Dowsman, will have to start all the way from the back of the grid. So you can catch that next on Kart Chaser.
Kart Store USA is a kart parts supplier that racers and retailers can count on when they need reliable advice and service. We focus on servicing all racers with honesty and pride while maintaining customer satisfaction. We carry a full stock of Kart Republic and Tony Kart chassis, as well as IAMI and Vortex Rock engines. We've also got a host of other parts available and in stock, such as products from Rev Performance Materials, Jecco Racing Seats, and more. We have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, And on top of that, if your order exceeds $200, shipping is on us. Check out all we have to offer today by visiting us online at kartstore-usa.com. As the Western importer of the Praga and Formula K chassis brands, Leading Edge Motorsports is a high-performance kart shop and race team with a simple mission: teach others the joy of high-performance driving, supply our customers with the highest quality products and services, and most of all, win races. With our remarkable racing inventory, expert services, and top-ranked national-level team to back it up, we'll help to get your new kart racing package up and running fast. From arrive and drive service to kart preparation and driver coaching to the parts you need to get you back on the racetrack, Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer.
Hannah Greenemeyer is going to score the final win of the U.S. Pro Kart Series. Hayden Jones is a national race winner. Nate Cicero wins.
Four-time champion Ryan Norberg winning Super Nationals 24.
Winner, winner, winner.
Are you ready to join one of North America's winningest driver development programs? Rollison Performance Group offers fully customizable packages that are meant to take your game to the next level. For more information, head to rollisonperformancegroup.com.
Welcome back to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati here, getting ready to cover the IME KA100 Junior category, sponsored by Advanced Design Studio. With me here is Dalton Haynes. Dalton, this is a category you have a lot of experience in over the years, with over 4 years of experience in the KA Junior category. As you look to this race, it's a pretty stacked field, a lot of fast contenders. As you would go into a 12-lap final, what's your mindset when it comes to racing yourself in a big pack with this many talented drivers?
Yeah, so in this field, KA Junior, it's a very aggressive field, so focusing on the start. And we're green. Ooh, Henry Wheeler hits the curve going into one. We got someone spun around.
Looks like Henry Wheeler's found a way to make himself up into P1 on the start. He's going to go defensive. Again,
we got Austin Olds
off the track. A championship contender. He's out. Again, we saw a mechanical failure for him early in the pre-final before he even got to the track. He's going to be out in the final. This is a massive hit to his championship hopes. But in the meantime, his teammate Henry Wheeler leads the race. Big train of karts all the way down to like P16, all running together. It looks like that's Quentin McPherson, who's worked his way up into P2 at the moment. And those two are going to work together at the start. But certainly for Henry Wheeler, this has been an outstanding start. For Austin Olds, this has been a disastrous start for the MPG Motorsports Will Power Kart driver.
Talking about bad starts, Ava Hansen fell back to 5th on that start from the front row. That was very unfortunate for her, but we'll see what she can do later in this race. Starting these races from the first lap in KA Junior, it's a very aggressive field, so you definitely want to just keep your nose clean these first couple laps. Just run some consistent laps, try to find your way through the field. Oh, we got to pass Danny Zazelski on Ava Hansen. She's going to try to cut back on him. She thinks better of it, while Wes Gundler, the young gun, going into 3rd place on Ava Dobson.
Yeah, Wesley Gundler, a guy who's had a lot of experience at the GoPro Motorplex, but still really young for the KA Junior category. Really the first season we've seen him venture outside of North Carolina, and he has put together a solid start to this main event, all the way up to P3 now. But in the meantime, it's Henry Wheeler, who is in P1, it's Quentin McPherson in P2, and now it is Gundler trying to work his way up through the field, continuing to get himself up there. He's going to have to close quite a bit of a gap to the front two, about 5 kart lengths to be in contention. Elsewhere, Danny Zazelski's found his way up into P5 at the start of that lap. A good start for him. Again, we saw him in the pre-final drop a wheel at the end of the race. A little bit of a rookie error for a guy who's extremely experienced in this class. So a little bit confusing there, but in the meantime, it's Henry Wheeler leading again. He's led every lap so far today in KA Junior. He's got a lot of pressure from behind those. Wesley Gundler's coming onto the front two, and Quentin McPherson in second. Will he try to make a move, or is he going to stick behind Wheeler? We'll have to see, but Gundler continues to find his way up towards the front two as he makes a mistake coming through turn 2.
Wes Gundler seems to have quite a bit of speed catching up to the top 2. Quentin's going to need to make a move soon, or else she'll have some pressure on him from Wes. Henry Wheeler's doing a great job. Oh, we have contact. Ava Dobson and Danny Zazelski, I believe.
And Ava Dobson not happy with the Trinity Karting Group driver, Danny Zazelski. Looked like they came together. Looked like Zazelski didn't give her any room at all, and maybe Dobson tried to fit herself into the gap that wasn't there. But certainly that's 2 podium contenders out of the race, or at least out of contention for the race very early on in this race. Zazelski has had a really rough day when it comes to driving standards and to making mistakes, and it just continues to get worse. So him and Austin Olds, 2 contenders out of contention early on.
Yeah, Danny Zazelski having so much experience in senior and then coming back down to junior, was really looking forward to getting at least a podium today. So it was a big mistake by him and Ava Dobson to get together. He looked like he had quite a bit of speed earlier on in the pre-final, and then he fell back a little bit. But we looks like we got some separation from the top 2 back to Wes Gundler. Quentin McPherson seems to not really be interested in fighting Henry Wheeler. It looks like he just wants to really push to get ahead. We've had that quite a few times this race, Emery, in these past couple of races where second place doesn't really want to fight first place. He just wants to work with them to get away. No one's really being a pain when it comes to racing at the front. What do you think about that?
Yeah, now Dalton, I want to ask you, if you were in Quentin McPherson's shoes, what would your mindset be? Would you be trying to push him, or would you be trying to get yourself up in the front and get yourself into control of the race?
Well, it all depends on how fast Henry Wheeler's going, and it depends on how fast Wes Gundler's going. You got to manage the gap to the person behind you, obviously, but at the same time, if the person in front of you is not doing what they're doing properly, you got to go by.
Yeah, and at this point, we've seen the pace that Henry Wheeler is good, but it's not great. We already saw in the pre-final, they got down to low 101s. Through 3 laps, they haven't gone above a 101.9 up at the front. Not even quickest time. That goes to Jackson Williams with a 101.8 in P10. Now, though, Ava Hansen goes purple from P4 with a 101.0. Now
and
towards the front, Wesley Gundler all the way up there. He has made up a ton of time up to P3. He's gained half a second on the front 2, and now it is a 4-car train for the race lead, with Hansen joining in at the end of the fray. But now, as they come down into turn 7, you have to think at this point McPherson has to be aggressive. But at this point, it looks like he's got more pressure from behind, with Gundler in P2 or in P3, and Hansen now joining the pack after going purple last lap.
Yeah, there's going to be a position for the lead change here soon, because McPherson's going to need to go away with that. Going to need to make a pass here soon with Wes Gundler and Ava Hansen. Ava Hansen just went purple that time by, so she's going to be looking to make a pass. McPherson should be looking to make a pass here soon.
Yeah, as they come now through turn 12, still staying at the same line. Henry Wheeler has led every lap so far, but he's got a ton of pressure from behind in the form of Quinn McPherson, who's been patient. But now with Wesley Gundler and Ava Hansen coming down the front straightaway, you have to think at some point those two are going to try to make a move into second. Gundler now trying to stay right on the bumper of what McPherson's doing. Wheeler up the pace a little bit, but he's still about half a second off of what the ultimate pace of this race is. And now
here goes Wes
we
Gundler.
see Gundler down the inside into P2 now, heading into the turn 4 position, and he's going to make that move stick. Now it looks like Ava Hansen going to try a move on the outside, but sticks herself into P4. Still though, the front 4 are the same, but now it's Wesley Gundler up in P2.
Yeah, exactly like we were talking about before, Emery. If Quentin's not in the position, if he doesn't feel like he's in the position to make a pass on Henry Wheeler, and Wes Gundler's coming around, then he's going to go by. You know, no one's going to really wait for you if you're in third place wanting to make a move. Third place never wants to be behind second, so he's always going to want to make his moves forward and possibly even go for Henry Wheeler here soon. So Quentin McPherson falls back to 4th, I believe. Ava Hansen didn't quite make it through with Wes, but she's going to look for it soon. She's a very aggressive driver, and I know she'll want to be in that front 3.
Yeah, it is a pass or be pass industry, this kart racing it is. In KA Junior especially, you see it a lot. Gundler went a little bit wide into turn 1, but he's still got a good run on exit, and now he's still in P2. This going to be the lap where he makes it look on Henry Wheeler. It's a little bit far back coming into turn 4. Hansen's still stuck behind McPherson in P4 and P3. But now Henry Wheeler, this is the most pressure he's had all race and all throughout the pre-final and the final. So that's over 14 laps of action. Now Wesley Gundler, a new face up at the front of the field in the KA Junior category on the Route 66 Sprint Series. The local from North Carolina making the trip up to Ohio. He's been really fast aboard that Tony kart, and he just continues to have so much extra pace. It looks like he's able to get it. And now as he goes down the inside on the kink coming into the turn 11, coming up towards turn 12 now, it looks like Wheeler's going to try it down the inside again. Henry Wheeler not willing to work behind Gundler at all. He's going to go defensive into turn 14, and now that stacks the front group back up again. Wesley Gundler briefly had the lead for all of about 2 seconds, and now is right back to Henry Wheeler, who we'll have to see as he goes defensive. Gundler going to stay in line coming down the front straightaway.
Now, if I was Wesley Gundler, I would be looking to make a pass because Quentin McPherson looks racy. He's really trying to make a move on Wes right now. Wes is going to have to go defensive.
Yeah, now
Henry Wheeler's doing a great job of leading this race right now. He's got a lot of pressure from behind, and he's not backing down from it. As soon as Wes Gundler wanted to make a move, he shot him down immediately. He said, no, that's my position. I'm staying in first.
This has been an outstanding job by Henry Wheeler here. We've seen really doesn't have the pace to run all the way up at the front. If you look at it by lap time, he currently has the 11th fastest lap of the race. And obviously he's been up at the front, hasn't had the drafting help that some other guys have had. but he certainly does not have the raw pace to be all the way up at the front leading every lap, but yet he's managing this race well. Gumler put him under fire last lap. He wasted no time getting back, and now as they come back to the back section where last time he made a pass, looked like Gumler got a little bit stuck on the outside there. Not going to lose a position from it, but is going to lose a little bit of momentum. But now coming back down the front straight, they're all going to accordion back together. Wheeler still in the lead. Gumler still in second. He's still content to push. And then in third and fourth, McPherson and Hansen not making moves either. In the meantime, Cash Perkins and the Merlin has made his way all the way up into P5. Started this race outside the top 10. Got a good start, and now he's up at the end of the second group, and they are catching the lead group. On the last lap around, Wheeler was a tenth slower than what Perkins was doing. If you look at the fastest lap, they've been slower. Cash Perkins is doing an outstanding job leading that second group, led by Perkins. He has Braden Zerbs behind him, Mateo Naranjo, Jackson Worthy, Michael Levitt. All of those guys in line are catching the lead group, and it has to seem like Wesley Gumler and Quentin McPherson and Ava Hansen have got to make a move at some point, or else Henry Wheeler is going to back them up into that second group.
Yeah, if Wes Gundler and Quentin McPherson aren't careful here soon, we're gonna have an 8-cart pack. Cash Perkins is bringing all those drivers up to the front pack. Then they're coming in hot too. They're going to be fast, and they're all going to be racy. You can see that gap winding down as the laps come down. Wes Gundler has stuck behind Henry Wheeler quite nice. He hasn't really been pushing him. He's just been trying to find a way around him. Henry Wheeler really wants to stay in front though, and I think with Wesley Gundler's lack of experience in KA Junior at other tracks and Henry Wheeler's experience, then he's able to keep Wes and Quentin McPherson and Ava Hansen behind him for so long. That's why he's been able to do it for so long. And like you said before, he's backing them up into that group. And here they come. Cash Perkins is within drafting range now.
Yeah, and this is a huge race now. It's now all the way up to 8 carts, all the way back to Jackson Wolney, who just went purple in P8. All of them have a shot at a podium or even a win. Cash Perkins went a little bit wide on exit of the kink, still keeps that pace, and he is the guy to watch. When he catches Ava Hansen, it is on. And so you have to wonder, maybe Hansen sees him coming. If you look back at it, right on cue, she makes a move coming into turn 13, makes the pass up into P3. Now she's got Wesley Gumler right in front of her. So a nice move from Hansen, diverts the attention away from her, as now Cash Perkins is going to arrive on the scene, and the guy he's going to see is going to be
Wes Gundler.
Now Wes Gundler up to the lead in turn 1, brings Ava Hansen,
Henry
brings
Wheeler's
Quentin
getting
McPherson.
trained.
Wheeler's going to fall all the way down the order, all the way down to probably P4, maybe even P5. Perkins going to try a move, not going to happen for him. And now as they come down into turn 4, Wes Gumler, for the first time all season, sees himself up at the front of a non-GoPro Motorflex track, and Wes Gumler up to the lead here at Route 66 at MCC. Ava Hansen into P2, Quentin McPherson in P3. Henry Wheeler has got himself back settled in P4, and then you've got Cash Perkins, who has successfully brought that lead group all the way to 9 carts, all the way back to Michael Levitt in P9. All of them right up there together. This is going to be an exciting final couple of laps here as we're coming to the white flag this time through.
Oh, this is shaping up to be a very exciting last lap. Wes Gundler, being the young gun, in first right now, he's gonna have to defend for his life for the first time in a while. I don't think he's ever led a race like this, but it looks like he has a 2-cart length gap on Ava Hansen right now, so she might actually have to defend from Quentin McPherson. So Wes might have this locked down.
This has looked really good. Wes Gumler with a lap of his life there to get enough of a gap to where now it looks like he's got to settle. Hansen had to go defensive into turn 1. Came under fire from Quentin McPherson into turn 2, and now that whole train behind them is battling for second. Hansen goes defensive again. She's thinking about points. Wes Gumler's thinking about the win at this point, and he's got about a 4-car length lead. Hansen continues to go defensive, and that's going to be it now as Quentin McPherson tries around the outside. Now that's not going to work out for him. He's going to come under fire from Henry Wheeler.
Henry
but the
Wheeler
biggest
obviously frustrated by not being able to get by and being trained earlier in the race. He's going to look to make a move for third place on Quentin McPherson. Quentin McPherson trying to find a way around.
Hansen dropped a wheel on exit, and that's going to allow for McPherson to get underneath her as they come through into turn 11. And what a job this has been from Wesley Gumler in the absolute sunshine now. But they're going 2 by 2 all the way through turn 12. Looks like Wheeler came out best. Hansen got shoved off the track. McPherson got in trouble, and it looks like Wheeler's going to be in second. But the
here comes Wes Gundler.
But the story of the race.
What a run.
It's going to be Wesley Gumler taking the victory. Henry Wheeler and Cash Perkins finds himself on the podium. A nice race for him as well. But what a race that was. Wesley Gumler from outside the top 5 of the early part of the race, got himself up to the second, got himself to the lead, played it right, and he'll come home with his first ever Route 66 victory, his first win on a regional scale. Excellent job for the North Carolina native. An outstanding job on the OTK. A young kid coming up through the stars. A breakout weekend for him. Henry Wheeler with a nice day for the points in P2. Cash Perkins, an outstanding run for him to get on the podium in the Merlin in P3. Michael Levitt was on the back skirts of the top 10 for most of the race. He ends up in P4 with Ava Hansen surviving a little bit of an excursion on the last lap to finish 5th. Rolling down the rest of the top 10, you've got Jackson Woolney in P6, Mateo Naranjo in P7, Quinn McPherson in P8, Jace Petty in P9, and somehow Danny Dzelski found his way in P10 after the crazy crash on the opening couple of laps. So a nice job for him to make something out of that.
Wes Gunler did an amazing job. He pulled the plug at the perfect moment. He passed Henry Wheeler for first place, and then he got a slight gap. Ava Hansen and all of them started fighting, and immediately he gets a gap, wins the race. It was a great job by him. A great salvage for Henry Wheeler in second, and a great run for Cash Perkins. So the top three all well deserved. Good race for them.
Yeah, for sure. So congrats to Wesley Goomer on his first ever KA Junior win at the Route 66 Sprint Series, sponsored by Advanced Design Studio. We'll be back next for the final class of the day. It's the old guys. It's the KA Masters coming up next on Kart Chaser.
I'm Billy Vincent, owner of MPG Motorsports. What we do at MPG is we try to keep it a nice, fun family atmosphere, try to combine sort of the bigger things and of the bigger teams and the professionalism down with sort of some of the fun sort of family-oriented atmosphere. We try to not only develop drivers, but also the parents and the families for just in knowledge in general in motorsports. It all starts in karting. What we try to do is try to help the drivers, the moms, the dads understand the sport of motorsports in general, not just karting, but what it takes to get all the way up through. Whether you end up wanting to be a driver or a mechanic or an engineer, you know, we can help you with that, and that's what we're here for. If you're interested in joining us at MPG, our home base is at Whiteland Raceway Park in Indianapolis, and you can contact us at info@willpowerkart.com, and one of our great people will reach out to you, and we'll try to put the best program together.
Odenthal Racing Products, your #1 producer in engine mounts since 1992, along with our leading-edge designs and product development, such as the Odenthal Racing Products EasyGP camera mount, which comes in 4 different styles and can be used on any karting platform. To see our products online, go to odenthalracing.com.
And welcome back here. About to get away with the final race of the day. This is your KA100 Masters. Green down into turn number 1, and it looks like it is going to be Andy Kutcher who's going to go out on the point. Right behind them, they're going to go 2 by 2, and it looks like Christian Vomier got a little bit of a shunt there from, I believe that was Christian Kutcher who pushed him out a little wide, which is now going to allow Roman Pendens to sit in P number 2 for the moment. Now he's falling back through the field, as he is now sitting into P number 3 right now as they make their way through turn 7 for the first time of 12, heading down that a little bit of a short chute before we get to the left-right of the turn 8, 9, 10 complex as they now make their way out of 11, coming up the hill, and it is still Andy way out in front, opening up a large margin, about 4, maybe 5 car lengths already after the start, coming into the back parts of the track for the very first time. And look at that. They are all spread out very straightforward and single file as they make their way through, as they're making their way out of that back straightaway, coming down to start-finish straight. Lap number 1 of 12 are now in the books, and it is Andy Kutcher out in front.
It's Chris Kutcher into P2, started last in this race. It's a Kutcher 1-2 in this race now. Roman Pedans in P3, Christian Vormier P4, and Randy Klimek kind of struggling to keep onto that second group in P5. But it looks like we have a 3-kart battle for second now, whether it be Kutcher able to find a little bit of pace in P2 from Chris Kutcher, or Roman Pedans in P3 kind of struggling a little bit, or Christian Vormier finding a little bit of pace too. The 3 of them are kind of condensed together. As I say that though, Vormier kind of pinches the exit, loses time on exit of the hairpin. So really a good start from Andy Kutcher again in this front. We saw in the pre-final he was able to just control the race, a nice 9/10 of a second gap throughout the entire race it seemed like, and then ballooned up to over 2 seconds by the end of the race. But now it's a 3-kart pack behind the leader of Andy Kutcher, and now as we go down the front straightaway out of turn 14, it's going to be Andy Kutcher with the lead. Takes a look back. He sees Chris Kutcher in P2. Then you've got Roman Pedans in P3 and Christian Vormier right in short sight. Chris Kutcher goes fastest lap, about a 10th quicker than Andy. So he's closing in. We might have a battle on our hands in X30 or in KA Masters here going up here. As he's brought Roman Pedans and Christian Vormier running the same pace as he is, gaining about a 10th on Andy Kutcher last lap.
Yeah, they're now making their way out of turn 4, coming down towards turn 7 for the second time. And again, like you said, it's a possibility for a battle, although they're all pretty straightforward. And there's equal space between all of them. Second on back, that is Chris Kutcher, followed by Roman Pendans and Christian Vormier and Randy Klimek, all in a train, trailing behind Andy Kutcher, who is right now holding on to about a 1.1, 1.2 second gap so far as they make their way through turns 12 and 13. Everyone's up on the wheel trying to see if they can't get just that little bit more as Christian Vormier is trying to reel in Roman Pendaz as they make their way out of the final couple of corners. Coming across the stripe, we're going to put one more lap in the book. We are now 9 to go this time by through turn number 1 as they make their way down into turn number 2. It looks like Vormier had an opportunity for a pass and goes a little wide on exit, so it's still Roman Pendaz running in P3.
I don't know if I expected to see this, but we now have the fastest lap of the race coming from dead last. That is Randy Klimek in P5, who just went purple with a 101.3. 4/10 clear what Andy Kutcher is doing at the front of the field. They're all condensing together. This could be a 5-kart race for the win, believe it or not, as the Chris Kutcher has brought the pack to be within a second of what Andy Kutcher is on track. And now, with the lap times they're running, this could easily turn into a battle with the entire field in KA Masters. And no, that is not hyperbole, because at the moment, the top 5, the entire field is separated by only 2 seconds, and they're getting closer. As now we see a pass for P3. Christian Vormier goes into P3, passing Roman Pedans in turn 12, gets it done, and now he'll set his sights on Chris Kutcher in P2. It looks like Randy Klimek is going to get close to what Pedans is doing as he comes down the straight. He's now in P4 as well, as it looks like maybe something happened to Pedans coming out of the final corner. As we look now, he's got an issue. Roman Pedans has an issue, and he has lost it, and he is now way back from the rest of the field. And now it is down to 4 karts in contention for the podium here, as Chris Kutcher continues to close in on Andy, going just a marginally quicker. Vormier's up to P3, Klimek's up to P4, and Roman Pedans lost out on that last lap.
Yeah, so they continue to make their way out of turn 7, coming down to that short chute before the 8, 9, 10 complex. And I think the closest battle we could watch is between Christian Vormier and Randy Klimek, are the two that are battling it out for the last podium spot. They are a little bit closer to the rest of the field. Roughly about a half a car length separates the two of them as they make their way now to that back parts of the track of 12, 13, 14. Oh, Vomir got a little sideways through turns number 14. Able to collect it back underway, but now he has got Randy Klemick on his back bumper. He's going to make a move coming down into one. We're going to watch him. He continues to push down into one. He does not. He stays on the back bumper. Does he try it into two? He does not again. He continues to follow. So Christian Vermeer made the mistake, and that is going to back up the field a little bit with Randy Klemick, who went purple that last lap, so he is the fastest car on track, was using Christian as a snowplow to try to push him back up to that front half of the field.
Yeah, now you can see Randy Clement continuing to run fast laps. He went purple again. But Vermeer, just if he could keep from making mistakes, he looks like he's got a fast car. But that last lap coming through the back hairpin lost a lot of time. Andy Kutcher continues to run consistent laps at the front. Pulled 2.5 tenths from Chris Kutcher. So the whole front two continue to pull away a little bit, but Vermeer made a mistake on that last lap. We're going to have to see what he can do now. Meanwhile, focusing in on P3, the battle for that, Randy Clement coming into the back section of the track, stays Linus Stern in P3. Now, though, it looks like he's appeared. Something happened to Chris Kutcher coming out of turn 14, and that's going to mean he's going to be under fire from Christian Vermeer now, coming down the front straightaway. Vermeer going to try around the outside. That is aggressive stuff from Christian Vermeer. It's not going to work out. Kutcher's able to get it. Now Vermeer down the inside again in turn 2. What a move by Christian Vermeer. Went from outside to inside, dived down the inside, and Christian Vermeer made it into P2. And now, as we see now coming out of the airpin, looks like Climax going to go for P2 now. And Randy Climax up to P2, the highest he's been all weekend. In the last bit, they're all signaling at each other. They're furious at each other. All of them think they're battling unfairly. And now, Chris Kutcher able to make a move, trying to. Him and Vermeer going at it with each other coming out of turn 7. This has been a wild half a lap where Christian Vermeer going super aggressive, and now he's in P3.
Yeah, this might be a little interesting here, not just on the track, but in the pit lane to see if anyone has any words with each other as they make their way down to turn 12. If they bunch back up, I don't think it's going to be the most friendly of competition. I think it will be clean, but I think aggressive is the word we're going to be looking for. As a leader now of Andy Kutcher has got a huge lead for himself, way over. Last time by was 2 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 7. As we wait when they cross the line this time by, it is now registered at 4.5 seconds. So due to all that hustling and tussling from second on back, they have now started to battling back and forth with each other more and more as they make their way down to the back stretch now, heading into turn number 4.
Yeah, now talking about the rest of this battle, it looks as if Vermeer and Kutcher have more pace than Randy Clement, have been able to make themselves up into the P2, P3, and P4 position, but Climac is losing time to Vermeer. Vermeer is catching Climac quite quickly now. As we look down to the front part of the grid, Andy Kutcher continues to lead by over 4 seconds. He's got this under control. It's the rest of the field that will play it out. Vermeer was really aggressive a lap and a half ago. Now he's got the potential to be up at the front of the battle, racing up for P2 against Randy Climac again. He's caught him up pretty fast. They've kind of ditched Chris Kutcher a little bit, who doesn't seem to have the pace to follow in. We'll see what the lap times are as they come around this lap. Vermeer certainly had a good pace on that lap. He does a 101.2. That's the fastest of anyone on the track right now. So Vermeer continues to run a fast pace. He's making mistakes. He's maybe making his fellow drivers a little bit angry. Certainly not going to have any good friends in the pizza line tonight, but if he's getting positions, then it's effective.
Yeah, now this is one that's going to get interesting. This was the big hustle and tussle that everyone was talking about. Vermeer, Randy Klemick, and also Christian Kutcher. I don't think there's going to be a lot of love lost between these three if there's any contact whatsoever, as we're now watching Vermeer working the back bumper of Randy Klemick as they make their way down to turn number 10, heading into 11 right now. As they make their way up the hill, let's see. Vermeer's got to run. Is he going to take it or is he going to wait? Coming down into turn 12, he's got to look on the inside. Looks like he's not going to get it here. Continues to follow. And if this battle heats up, there could be something between Chris Kutcher to catch back up to the top 2. This time by, we're looking at 3 laps to go. Here comes the leader coming down the line. That's Andy Kutcher to burn one more lap. 3 laps remain for him. Here come the next 3 coming down to the line. That is Klemick, Vermeer, Kutcher down into turn number 1. Vermeer a little loose there on entry, tries it into 2. Clean pass, throws a slider pass back, and here comes Christian Kutcher. He now makes up one more position. Vermeer goes for, tries to go for a pass, ends up losing 2 spots, and now Randy Klemick's got to hold off Chris Kutcher, who is working the back bumper now coming into turn number 7. Let's see how this one's going to happen.
I don't know if Christian Vermeer has been very effective with his passes this race, but he sure has been entertaining with them. a complete slide job attempt into turn 2. Did not work out for him. Overdrove it, lost the position actually to Chris Kutcher, who just did the fastest lap of his race. But
I think Vermeer's off.
Well, Vermeer's off in the backside of the track, and it looks like at a minimum going. So now
more contact.
Crash in the back of the field. Fighting for P2, Randy Klimak and Chris Kutcher just got into each other. And for the second time this race, Chris Kutcher has made contact. This time, though, it looks a lot more terminal. And now, in the meantime, Andy Kutcher just took 2 to go. But Chris Kutcher is pretty much out of the race. Randy Klimak is out of the fighting. And somehow, some way, this is going to end up in Christian Vermeer finding himself back in contention for P2 and not having to fight all for it. And Roman Pedans is going to finish 3rd just by virtue of not crashing out like everyone else in this race outside of Andy Kutcher has done.
Well, it's not over yet. There's still 2 laps left, and anything can happen here, as we've seen before. Don't quite sure what happened there. We didn't get a good view on the incident that happened, but now we're watching Christian Vermeer, like as you said, went from going off the track and looking out of contingency for a podium, is now holding on to 2nd. Right behind him, Roman Pendas is now in the last podium spot in 3rd, and they're pulling off. That is, if I'm not mistaken, Chris Kutcher is pulling down the pit lane, so I'm not sure if there's any damage or if maybe he just had enough, but he is now coming down to the pit lane. Meanwhile, white flag is about to be out for your leader of Andy Kutcher, who is now coming down to the stripe. He's going to be entertained when he gets informed of all the information that happens, as he's got one more lap before he can get the checker flag.
I have to say, I don't know what got into the KA Master field in this one, but this has been absolute chaos from the last 6 laps or so. Vermeer giving hand signals out in the middle of the front straightaway. I don't know what he's upset about, but he's in P2 at the moment with nobody within 10 seconds of either side of him. 3rd place is Roman Pedans, who was off the track spinning around early in the race. Looked like he was out of the race. Now he's back on the podium again, because Randy Klimak and Chris Kutcher, again, really a frustrating few laps for them. Kutcher in particular got into it with Vermeer, crashed with Klimak, and now lost a certain podium for himself. It's a very interesting couple of laps here. Certainly, again, not going to be any positive words being spoken in the scale line between all these guys. But hey, at the end of the day, this is KA Masters Racing at Route 66. Anything can happen. And as we've seen, Andy Kutcher, he is going to have quite possibly the easiest win of the entire weekend. Going to take the checker flag. Nobody within a country mile of him. He celebrates, comes across the line to win, and KA Masters celebrate the day and do it in style as he spins across. The 2nd place hasn't even got to the line. He's still celebrating, as now Christian Vermeer, who's been upset, is now in 2nd place. What a celebration, though, by Andy Kutcher, as now Roman Pedans rounds out the podium. And we'll see in a few seconds Andy Klimak continuing, as now we look in and we see that Andy Kutcher has made an absolute incredible celebration. Just the roundabout way of celebrating a 12.0 second win.
Yeah, so that was one good way to end things for here today for day 1 of round 3 here of Route 66 at beautiful MCC Cincinnati. We will be back live here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to begin day number 2 of round 3 of Route 66. For everyone that tuned in on the YouTube premium subscription, I want to thank you guys for all that you do to support us. You guys have no idea how much it means to us. We look forward to bringing you guys more broadcasting here tomorrow, live from MCC Cincinnati. My name is Caleb Smock. Joining me in the booth is Emery Lida from everyone across the broadcasting group. And I thank you guys so much for everything that happened here today. We'll see you all tomorrow morning.